The Consistent Minds present this audiobook titled, The Discipline You Need to Succeed. Synopsis. In a world saturated with distractions and the seductive promise of quick fixes, discipline remains the ultimate differentiator between ambition and achievement, between a life of potential and a life of purpose. The Discipline You Need to Succeed is not just a book, it is a rigorous mental and practical training ground. It argues that discipline is not a punitive force of deprivation, but a profound expression of self-respect and the master key that unlocks freedom, confidence, and unparalleled success in any field. This work is structured as a progressive journey, moving from the internal architecture of the mind to the external implementation of powerful systems. It draws on a wide tapestry of wisdom, from the ancient Stoics like Marcus Aurelius to modern giants like Angela Duckworth and James Clear, from the relentless drive of athletes like Kobe Bryant to the creative routines of artists like Maya Angelou. It is a compelling synthesis of philosophy, psychology, and actionable strategy, designed to equip the reader with the tools to build a life of resilience, focus, and remarkable achievement. Look around you. Look at the landscape of modern ambition. It is a graveyard of good intentions. It is a museum of half-finished projects, unused gym memberships, and abandoned dreams. We live in an age of unprecedented access to information, tools, and opportunities for self-improvement, yet a profound and pervasive sense of stagnation hangs in the air. We are a generation that knows what to do, but consistently fails to do what we know. We blame a lack of motivation. We wait for the lightning bolt of inspiration to strike. We scroll through curated feeds of other people's success, mistaking their highlight reels for our instruction manual, and we are left with a hollow feeling of being somehow less. We consume endless content on productivity, listen to podcasts on high performance, and buy books promising secrets, all in the desperate hope that the next idea, the next hack, the next feeling will be the one that finally propels us into the life we are meant to live. This is the great deception, the central lie of modern achievement. The truth is this: motivation is a myth. It is a fickle and unreliable phantom. It is the dessert of success, not the main course. Relying on motivation is like trying to build a fire with kindling that is only sometimes, and never predictably, damp. You may get a flame on a good day, but you cannot build a life, a legacy, or a fortress upon it. So, what is the alternative? If not motivation, then what is the force that bridges the chasm between the person you are and the person you were meant to be? The answer is a principle so fundamental, so unglamorous, and so brutally effective, that it has been the silent engine behind every great human achievement, from the pyramids to the microchip. It is the one weapon you possess that is sharper than any intellect, more powerful than any talent, and more valuable than any resource. It is a weapon you have likely left sheathed, rusting in the scabbard of procrastination and excuse. That weapon is discipline.
This book is not about finding motivation. It is about rendering it obsolete. It is a declaration that you are not a slave to your fleeting emotions. You are the master of your actions. This book is a call to arms, not against an external enemy, but against the internal chaos that holds you back. It is a training manual for a kind of mental and emotional martial arts, designed to make you impervious to the whims of a distracted world and the weaknesses of your own mind. Discipline is not, as it is so often misrepresented, a life of joyless deprivation and grim self-punishment. That is a caricature, a story told by those who have never tasted its true power. True discipline is not the jailer of your freedom, it is the liberator. It is the force that frees you from the tyranny of your basest impulses. It is the power that buys you focus in an age of distraction, resilience in the face of failure, and the profound self-respect that comes from knowing your word to yourself is ironclad. The philosopher Aristotle saw this clearly over 2 millennia ago. He did not say, we are what we occasionally feel inspired to do. He said, we are what we repeatedly do. He understood that excellence is not a single act of heroism performed for an audience. It is a habit. It is the quiet, daily, relentless application of effort long after the initial excitement has faded. It is the thousands of small, correct choices made in the dark, with no one watching, that collectively forge a destiny.
In the pages that follow, we will embark on a structured, uncompromising journey to install this operating system of excellence into your life. We will move from the internal architecture of your mind to the external implementation of powerful systems. We will dissect the neurological engines of habit, forge the mental toughness to withstand any storm, master the art of focused attention, and design an environment that makes success inevitable. You will learn to stop fighting battles against yourself every single day. You will learn to build a life where discipline is not a constant struggle, but the default setting. You will learn that the pain of discipline is measured in ounces, while the pain of regret is measured in tons. This is not a passive reading experience. This is a workshop for your soul. It will demand honesty, courage, and a willingness to confront the parts of yourself that have settled for less. It will be challenging. But on the other side of that challenge is a version of you that you have only glimpsed in your most ambitious moments, a version who is calm, confident, and in command. The unused weapon is in your hands. It is time to draw it. It is time to begin. Chapter 1: The Unshakable Foundation. This is a condensed sample to illustrate the style and depth of the full manuscript. The quiet power. What is the single greatest predictor of success? Is it intelligence? Talent? Charisma? Luck? For decades, researchers have probed this question, studying everyone from West Point cadets to national spelling bee champions. The results, consistently and unequivocally, point to a characteristic that is far less glamorous but infinitely more powerful: discipline. It was the seminal marshmallow test at Stanford in the 1960s that first offered a tantalizing clue. Children who could resist eating a single marshmallow for a short period of time in exchange for 2 marshmallows later were found, years later, to have significantly higher SAT scores, better social skills, and lower levels of stress. The ability to delay gratification, a core component of discipline, proved to be a remarkable window into future success. But this book is not about denying yourself marshmallows. It is about building a life so rich and meaningful that the small, immediate temptations lose their power over you. It is about understanding that discipline is not the jailer of your freedom, but the liberator. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, a man who bore the weight of an empire, never spoke of discipline as a burden. He wrote in his private journal, Meditations, "The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting, the impediment to action advances." Action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This is the essence of the disciplined mindset. It is not about a life without challenges. It is about a mind that uses challenges as its raw material for growth. Discipline versus motivation, the great deception. We live in a culture obsessed with motivation. We scroll through social media feeds filled with inspirational quotes, waiting for a bolt of lightning to strike us and propel us into action. We say, "I don't feel motivated to go to the gym," or "I need to be in the right mood to work on my project." This is the great deception. Motivation is fickle. It is an emotion, and like all emotions, it is transient and unreliable. It comes and goes with the weather, with our sleep, with the latest piece of news. Discipline, on the other hand, is non-negotiable. It is the bridge between your goals and their accomplishment, and it remains standing. Whether you feel like it or not, the renowned psychologist and philosopher William James understood this. Over a century ago, when he wrote, "All our life, so far as it has definite form, is but a mass of habits. Discipline is the practice of installing the right habits, so that even on the days when your motivation has abandoned you, your automated processes carry you forward. You don't need to feel motivated to brush your teeth, it's a habit. The goal is to make your success-oriented behaviors just as automatic. Jocko Willink, a retired Navy SEAL commander, reduces this concept to its starkest, most powerful form with his mantra, discipline equals freedom. At first glance, it seems a paradox. How can restriction be freedom? But consider the musician who disciplines herself through thousands of hours of practice. She is not imprisoned by the scales, she is being freed from the inability to play the music in her soul. Consider the athlete who disciplines his body with grueling training. He is not a slave to the gym, he is being freed from weakness and his own physical limitations. The freedom you will gain through the principles in this book is multifaceted. Freedom from regret. The pain of discipline is momentary. The pain of regret of knowing you could have been more, done more, been more is lifelong. Freedom from anxiety. A disciplined mind, focused on process and action, has little room for the what ifs and catastrophic thinking that fuel anxiety. Freedom of choice. Financial discipline buys you freedom from jobs you hate. Physical discipline buys you freedom from poor health. Professional discipline buys you the freedom to pursue your chosen path. The 3 pillars of the disciplined mindset. To build this unshakable foundation, you must internalize 3 core principles. These are not actions, but attitudes. They are the lenses through which a disciplined person views the world. 1. The pillar of ownership. Your life is your making. Before any change can occur, you must utter the 2 most empowering words in the English language. I own. I own my current situation. I own my past mistakes. I own my future potential. I own my reactions, my attitudes, my efforts. This is the antithesis of the victim mentality. It is the philosophy of extreme ownership that Jocko Willink preached on the battlefield. There is no one else to blame. The market didn't kill your business, your strategy was wrong. Your teacher isn't unfair, you didn't study enough. This is not a message of self-flagellation, but of immense power. If you are responsible for your predicament, then you, and only you, have the power to change it. The Stoics called this the dichotomy of control. Focus relentlessly on what is within your control, your actions, your opinions, your desires, and accept with grace what is not. 2. The pillar of process. Fall in love with the grind. Our goal-obsessed culture teaches us to dream of the summit, the promotion, the finished novel, the perfect body. But a person driven only by the goal is like a climber who stares only at the peak. Constantly dismayed by how far away it seems, likely to trip over the very next rock. The disciplined individual falls in love with the climb itself. They find joy in the daily grind, the perfect repetition, the well-crafted sentence, the feeling of a good workout. This is what Aristotle meant, what he said, when he said excellence is a habit. It is the thousands of small, correct choices made daily that compound into something extraordinary. James Clear, in his modern classic Atomic Habits, masterfully explains the math of this. Getting 1% better every day seems insignificant, but it compounds to a nearly 38 times improvement over a year. The goal is not to read a book, it is to become a reader. The goal is not to run a marathon, it is to become a runner. Identity level change happens when you focus on the process. 3. The pillar of principled action. Act according to your design. Finally, discipline must be guided by a personal code. It cannot be a random series of deprivations. You must define, for yourself, what you stand for. What are your core values? Integrity, mastery, service, health, Once this code is established, discipline becomes the mechanism for upholding it. You don't avoid cheating because you might get caught. You avoid it because you are a person of integrity, and the act would violate your personal code. You go to the gym not because you hate your body, but because you value health and vitality. Your discipline is no longer a struggle against yourself. It is an affirmation of your highest ideals. It is the energy you expend to align your reality with your values. As the author and leadership expert Stephen Covey put it, the undisciplined are slaves to moods, appetites, and passions. When you, operating from this principled center, you are no longer a slave. You are the master. You are the architect. You are the one who lays the brick, day after day, building the unshakable foundation upon which a remarkable life will stand. This is the journey we begin together. It is not the easy path, but it is the only one that leads to a destination worth reaching. Understanding discipline as a mindset is the first step. But to wield it effectively, we must also understand it as a biological and psychological phenomenon. For decades, willpower was viewed by psychologists as a finite resource, a mental muscle that could be fatigued with overuse. This theory, known as ego depletion, suggested that resisting a donut in the morning could drain your willpower, making you more likely to snap at a coworker in the afternoon or skip the gym in the evening. While the strictest interpretation of ego depletion has faced scientific scrutiny, a more nuanced truth remains: your capacity for self-control is deeply intertwined with your physiological state. Think of it not as a tank that empties, but as a system that can be optimized or degraded. Roy F. Baumeister, a pioneering researcher in this field, co-authored Willpower: Rediscovering the Greatest Human Strength, where he argues that willpower draws on a limited pool of mental resources. While the limited nature is debated, the connection to biology is not. The physiological foundations of willpower: managing your cognitive budget. The classic model of willpower as a purely psychological muscle, one that can be strengthened through sheer grit, is only half the picture. Emerging research in neuroscience and behavioral psychology paints a more complex portrait. Willpower is a biological function, deeply intertwined with your body's fundamental physiological states. To believe you can overcome your biology through mindset alone is like believing you can run a marathon on an empty stomach because you have a positive attitude. Sooner or later, the body will veto the mind's ambition. Understanding and managing three key physiological factors: decision fatigue, glucose levels, and sleep deprivation. Not a hack. It is the essential practice of fueling and maintaining the very engine of your discipline. 1. Decision fatigue, the cognitive tax of choice. The concept of decision fatigue explains the deteriorating quality of decisions made by an individual after a long session of decision-making. It is the psychological equivalent of a muscle succumbing to exhaustion. Every single choice you make, from the moment you wake up and decide to hit snooze or get up, to what you wear, what you eat for breakfast, which task to tackle first at work, and how to respond to a challenging email, draws down from the same finite pool of mental energy. This cognitive resource is responsible for executive function, self-control, regulation of emotion, and complex problem-solving. The mechanism at play involves the prefrontal cortex, PFC, the brain's CEO. The PFC is brilliant but delicate, and it is exceptionally metabolically expensive to run. With every voluntary choice, especially those involving trade-offs, temptation resistance, or planning, it works harder, consuming glucose and generating mental wear and tear. As the day progresses and this resource depletes, the brain seeks shortcuts. It becomes either impulsive, acting on immediate gratification and emotional reactions. This is why you're more likely to snap at a loved one, buy an unnecessary item online, or reach for junk food in the evening after a demanding day of work. Your tired brain seeks the quickest, easiest reward to feel better. Paralyzed, avoiding decisions altogether. This manifests as procrastination, endlessly scrolling through options without the mental capacity to choose, or defaulting to the easiest path, even if it's not the best one. This is precisely why figures like Barack Obama and Steve Jobs famously limited their wardrobes. As Obama explained, "You'll see I wear only gray or blue suits. I'm trying to pare down decisions. I don't want to make decisions about what I'm eating or wearing because I have too many other decisions to make." They weren't being frivolous or lacking in style. They were conducting a strategic audit of their cognitive budget. They recognized that willpower is a zero-sum game. By automating or eliminating trivial but energy-draining choices, they preserved their highest quality mental resources for the decisions that truly mattered, those with consequences for national policy or global technology. The practical application for anyone is clear: to combat decision fatigue, you must become a cognitive miser. Simplify your life through routines, habits, and uniforms. Pre-plan your meals, lay out your clothes the night before, and create fixed schedules for recurring tasks. Every trivial choice you automate is a deposit of willpower saved for your most important battles. 2. Glucose levels, the fuel for self-control. The brain, while only accounting for about 2% of body weight, consumes approximately 20% of the body's energy resources. A key source of this energy is glucose, a type of sugar that circulates in the bloodstream. Acts of self-control, resisting a donut, forcing yourself to focus on a difficult report, maintaining composure in a frustrating argument are cognitively expensive tasks that require a significant amount of this glucose. Seminal studies, such as those by psychologist Roy Baumeister, demonstrated this link dramatically. In one experiment, participants who resisted the temptation of freshly baked chocolate chip cookies subsequently gave up much faster on a frustrating puzzle task than those who were allowed to eat the cookies. The act of resistance had literally depleted the metabolic fuel required for perseverance. Further research has shown that low blood sugar levels correlate strongly with poorer self-control, increased impulsivity, and more aggressive behavior. When your glucose is low, the energy-hungry prefrontal cortex is one of the first systems to be compromised. The brain, in a survival-oriented state, diverts resources to more basic functions and cedes control to the more primitive, impulsive parts of the brain, like the amygdala, which is associated with fear and aggression. This is not a metaphor. It is a metabolic reality. Trying to exercise willpower with low blood sugar is like trying to drive a car on an empty tank. The vehicle might sputter along for a little while, but it will inevitably stall. The hungry plus angry phenomenon is a perfect illustration of this biological truth. The strategic implication is to treat your brain like a high-performance engine. This doesn't mean gulping down sugary sodas, which cause a rapid spike and an even more damaging crash. It means providing a steady, slow-burn supply of high-quality fuel through balanced nutrition. Prioritize proteins, complex carbohydrates, and healthy fats that provide sustained energy release. Be particularly mindful of your glucose levels before and during periods requiring intense focus or self-control. A strategic snack, a handful of nuts, a piece of fruit, or some yogurt, can be the difference between a disciplined response and an impulsive meltdown. Managing your glucose is quite literally managing your willpower. 3. Sleep deprivation, sabotaging the command center. If decision fatigue is the slow drain of your cognitive budget and low glucose is running on an empty tank, then sleep deprivation is a systemic power failure in the brain's command center. The prefrontal cortex is exceptionally vulnerable to a lack of sleep. When you are tired, the PFC doesn't just get slower, it effectively goes offline. Neuroimaging studies show significantly reduced activity in the PFC of sleep-deprived individuals. The consequences are catastrophic for discipline. Impaired executive function. The PFC is responsible for what are known as the executive functions: planning, foresight, focus, and impulse control. With a compromised PFC, you become disorganized, easily distracted, and prone to making short-sighted decisions. You can't effectively prioritize, and your ability to foresee the consequences of your actions diminishes. Emotional dysregulation. The weakened connection between the PFC and the amygdala leads to emotional volatility. The amygdala, which processes fear and anger, becomes hyperactive, while the PFC loses its ability to apply a rational brake. This is why sleep deprivation makes you irritable, anxious, and overly reactive to minor stressors. Cravings and poor judgment. Sleep deprivation disrupts the hormones that regulate appetite, increasing ghrelin, the hunger hormone, and decreasing leptin, the satiety hormone. This creates intense cravings for high-calorie, high-carbohydrate foods, directly sabotaging dietary discipline. Furthermore, with impaired judgment, you are far less likely to resist these cravings. The analogy of trying to run sophisticated software on a computer with a dying battery is perfectly apparent. The hardware, your brain, is physically incapable of executing the commands your mind is giving it. You may want to be focused, patient, and disciplined, but the biological infrastructure required for those states is non-operational. No amount of caffeine or motivational self-talk can fully compensate for this neural impairment. The solution is non-negotiable. Prioritize 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep as the foundational pillar of your discipline. It is the most powerful, legal performance-enhancing drug available. A well-rested brain has a fully powered PFC, ready to regulate emotions, maintain focus, and make the disciplined choices that build a successful life. Sacrificing sleep is not a badge of honor. It is the single most effective way to sabotage your own willpower before your day has even begun. Discipline is not a battle waged solely in the mind. It is a whole-body endeavor. By strategically minimizing trivial decisions, fueling your brain with steady energy, and guaranteeing it the restorative sleep it requires, you move from fighting against your own biology to working in concert with it. You stop draining your cognitive budget and start investing in it, ensuring that when a true test of will arrives, you are not bankrupt, but abundantly resourced and ready to succeed. This is not an excuse. I was tired, so I couldn't help myself. But rather, a strategic insight. The disciplined individual does not merely rely on brute mental force. They build a lifestyle that supports their discipline. They understand that a good night's sleep, a nutritious meal, and simplifying trivial choices are not acts of self-indulgence. They are tactical maneuvers to ensure their willpower army is well-fed, well-rested, and ready for battle. As the philosopher and psychologist William James noted, the greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another. But to have that choice, your biological foundation must be strong enough to support it. The first discipline, defining your why. Without a compelling reason to be disciplined, the entire structure will crumble at the first sign of discomfort. Discipline for its own sake is a dry and brittle thing. Discipline in service of a profound, personal why is resilient and powerful. The legendary author and Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl, in his masterpiece Man's Search for Meaning, wrote, "Those who have a why to live can bear with almost any how. He witnessed this firsthand in the concentration camps. Those who had a purpose, a loved one to return to, a book to write, a mission to fulfill, were far more likely to survive the unimaginable how of their daily existence." Your why is your North Star. It is the deep, emotional driver behind your goals. Goal: I want to lose 20 pounds. Surface why: to look better. Deep why: the North Star: to have the energy to play with my children without getting winded. To model a healthy lifestyle for my family. To feel confident and strong in my own body, so I can fully engage in my life without self-consciousness. Goal: I want to get a promotion. Surface why, to make more money. Deep why, the North Star, to achieve financial security so my spouse can pursue their passion. To gain the influence to build a team and a culture I'm proud of. To master my craft and prove to myself that I am capable of excellence. Your discipline will be tested. There will be days when the alarm clock feels like a mortal enemy and the couch sings a siren's song. On those days, losing 20 pounds is not enough. But being an active, present father for my son is a different story. That why carries an emotional weight that can pull you out of bed when willpower alone fails. Actionable step, the why ladder. Take a key goal you have. Now, ask yourself, why is that important? Write down the answer. Then, ask why, again to that new answer. Continue this process at least 5 times. You will drill down through the superficial layers and strike the bedrock of your core motivation. This deep why is what you must connect to your daily disciplined actions. Write it down. Place it somewhere you will see it every day. This is your contract with your future self. The choice that defines you. The disciplined mindset is not a destination you arrive at, but a path you choose, moment by moment. It is the conscious decision to own your life, to love the process, and to act in accordance with your deepest principles, all while intelligently managing your physiological resources in service of a powerful why. It is the choice between what is easy and what is right. Between the comfort of the present and the glory of the future. Between being a passenger in your own life and taking the wheel. The Roman poet Virgil famously wrote, "Fortune favors the bold." But we must add a crucial corollary: fortune and success favor the disciplined. Boldness without discipline is merely recklessness. Boldness with discipline is unstoppable. You now hold the blueprint for the foundation. The cement is mixed. The tools are in your hands. The rest of this book will show you how to build upon it, layer by layer, habit by habit, until you have constructed a life of purpose, power, and profound achievement. The first brick is laid. Now, let us build the walls. Chapter 2: The Inner Citadel Forging Mental Toughness and Resilience. Introduction: The Storm and the Fortress. Imagine 2 structures, a house of cards and a medieval citadel. Both will face storms. The house of cards is at the mercy of the wind. The slightest gust scatters it into nothingness. The citadel, however, is designed for the storm. Its walls are thick, its foundations deep. The storm does not destroy it. It merely proves the citadel's strength. Your mind is that structure. The storms of life, setbacks, failures, criticism, stress, are inevitable. You cannot control the weather. But you can, with deliberate practice, transform your mind from a house of cards into an impenetrable inner citadel. This is the essence of mental toughness and resilience, not the absence of turmoil, but the capacity to withstand it and emerge stronger. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, who faced plague, war, and betrayal, never asked for a peaceful life. He wrote in Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is the fundamental principle of this chapter. Mental toughness is the power to manage your perception of and reaction to events, thereby robbing those events of their power to destroy your peace and derail your progress. The 3 enemies of mental fortitude, and how to defeat them. To build our citadel, we must first understand the primary enemies that seek to breach its walls. 1. The enemy of comfort, the seductive law of the easy path. Our modern world is engineered for comfort. We have on-demand entertainment, food delivery, and algorithms that feed us exactly what we want to see. While convenient, this comfort is a trap for the mind. It teaches us to avoid discomfort at all costs, which in turn atrophies our resilience. The ancient Greek philosopher Epicurus is often misrepresented as a champion of pleasure. In reality, he taught that the highest pleasure was ataraxia, freedom from fear and mental turmoil. He understood that this state was achieved not through indulgence, but through self-control and overcoming hardship. The antidote: voluntary discomfort. The modern Stoic writer, Ryan Holiday, popularized the practice of voluntary hardship. This is not masochism, it is training. It is taking cold showers, fasting for a period, walking a longer route, or waking up an hour earlier. By willingly embracing small, manageable doses of discomfort, you inoculate yourself against the larger, unexpected pains of life. You send a powerful message to your brain: I am in control. Discomfort is not to be feared, it is a challenge I can overcome. As David Goggins, a modern icon of mental toughness, puts it, you have to build calluses on your brain, just like how you build calluses on your hands. 2. The enemy of the inner critic, the voice of self-sabotage. Inside your mind lives a critic. Its voice whispers, or sometimes shouts, doubts, fears, and prophesies of failure. You're not good enough. Everyone will laugh at you. You might as well quit now. This critic is born from past failures, societal conditioning, and the fear of the unknown. This voice is not the truth, it is a defense mechanism. Its goal is to keep you safe in your comfort zone by convincing you not to try. But safety is an illusion, and stagnation is the true danger. The antidote: cognitive distance and reframing. Psychologist and Stanford professor Carol Dweck gave us the framework of the fixed mindset versus the growth mindset. The inner critic is the voice of the fixed mindset, believing that abilities are carved in stone. The resilient individual cultivates a growth mindset, believing that abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. When the inner critic says, I am a failure, create distance. Instead of I am a failure, say, I experienced a failure. This separates your identity from the event. Then, reframe it using the growth mindset. Ask yourself, oh, what can I learn from this? Oh, how does this challenge help me grow? Oh, what is one small step I can take to improve? As Thomas Edison famously reframed his 10,000 unsuccessful attempts to invent the light bulb, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. He didn't see failures, he saw data points on the path to success. 3. The enemy of circumstance, when the world feels against you. Sometimes, the storm isn't internal. It's external: a job loss, a health diagnosis, a global pandemic, a personal betrayal. These events are genuinely painful and disruptive. The undisciplined mind falls into the trap of what psychologists call catastrophizing, imagining the worst possible outcome, and becoming paralyzed by it. The antidote: the Stoic art of focusing on the sphere of control. The Stoics divided the world into two categories: what is within our control and what is not. Within our control are our opinions, our impulses, our desires, and our actions. Everything else, our reputation, the past, the weather, other people's actions, is outside our control. Resilience is built by pouring all of your energy into the first category and gracefully accepting the second. When faced with a difficult circumstance, ask yourself, what is within my control right now? Oh, you can't control a recession, but you can control your spending and your effort in upskilling. Oh, you can't control a diagnosis, but you can control your attitude, your compliance with treatment, and your research. Oh, you can't control a negative comment, but you can control whether you internalize it or use it as constructive feedback. This is not passive acceptance. It is active focus. It is directing your precious time and energy away from fretting over the unchangeable and towards acting on the malleable. This is how you build the walls of your citadel, brick by manageable brick, even while the storm rages around you. The daily drills: forging resilience through practice. Understanding the enemies of mental fortitude is the strategic map. But victory is won in the daily tactical drills. Building your inner citadel is not an intellectual exercise. It is a physical, mental, and emotional practice. These drills are the equivalent of a blacksmith hammering hot steel, slowly and deliberately shaping raw potential into an unbreakable tool. Drill 1. The Stoic Pause, mastering your first response. Between any external event and your reaction, there is a space. In that space lies your freedom and power to choose your response. The goal of this drill is to widen that space. The practice: when you encounter a stressor, a critical email, a traffic jam, a missed deadline, consciously pause. Do not react immediately. Take a single, deep breath. In that moment, ask yourself these 3 questions, derived from the Stoic philosophy of Epictetus. 1. Is this within my control? If not, work to accept it and focus your energy elsewhere. 2. What is the worst case scenario here? Often, naming it robs it of its power. 3. What is the most virtuous and effective action I can take right now? This shifts you from a passive victim to an active agent. The payoff: this simple, few-second practice prevents the amygdala hijack, the flood of emotional panic that shuts down your prefrontal cortex. It is the foundation of emotional intelligence and resilient leadership. As Viktor Frankl powerfully stated, between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Drill 2. The Failure Autopsy, learning from every setback. The resilient do not fear failure, they dissect it. They treat every setback as a data point, not a verdict. The practice: when a project fails, a goal is missed, or you make a mistake, conduct a formal failure autopsy. Set aside self-judgment and analyze the situation with clinical detachment. Write down the answers to these questions. Oh, what exactly happened? Stick to the facts, not feelings. Oh, what were the root causes? Was it a planning error? A skill gap? An external factor? Oh, what did I learn? This is the most crucial step. Extract the lesson. Oh, what will I do differently next time? Turn the lesson into a new, improved process. The payoff: this ritual transforms failure from a source of shame into a source of wisdom. It institutionalizes the growth mindset, championed by Carol Dweck. The iconic inventor Thomas Edison embodied this. He didn't see 10,000 failures, he saw a 10,000-step education. By conducting autopsies, you ensure you never lose, you either win or you learn. Drill 3. The Gratitude Reframe, rewiring your brain for positivity. The human brain has a natural negativity bias. It's wired to spot threats and problems for survival. In the modern world, this often manifests as anxiety, complaining, and seeing the worst in situations. Resilience requires actively counteracting this bias. The practice: every evening, write down 3 specific things you are grateful for. They do not have to be monumental. The taste of my morning coffee, a productive meeting, the sound of the rain. The key is specificity. Furthermore, when faced with a challenge, actively force yourself to find a silver lining or a potential benefit. Lost your job? Perhaps it's the push you needed to pursue a passion. Stuck in traffic? Maybe it's a forced moment of quiet reflection, or a chance to listen to an audiobook. The payoff: studies in positive psychology, led by researchers like Martin Seligman, have shown that a consistent gratitude practice physically rewires neural pathways. It lowers stress hormones, increases happiness, and builds emotional resilience. It doesn't deny the negative, but it empowers you to see that the negative is not the only reality. As the Roman orator Cicero noted, gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all others. It is the soil in which resilience grows. Drill 4. The Therefore principle, taking ownership of your narrative. The stories we tell ourselves about our lives become our reality. The victim says, "This bad thing happened to me, and so I am powerless." The resilient individual says, "This bad thing happened to me, and therefore I will." The practice: whenever you find yourself stating a problem, immediately add the word, therefore, and finish the sentence with an action you will take. Instead of, "I'm overwhelmed with work," say, "I'm overwhelmed with work, therefore, I will spend the next 30 minutes prioritizing my top 3 tasks for tomorrow." Instead of, "I was unfairly criticized," say, "I was unfairly criticized, therefore, I will extract any useful feedback and let the rest go." The payoff: this simple linguistic trick forces you out of a passive, narrative voice and into an active, authorial one. You are no longer a character being buffeted by plot twists. You are the author writing the next chapter. This is the essence of Jocko Willink's extreme ownership. In conclusion, mental toughness is not a personality type you are born with. It is a skill, forged in the daily fires of practice. It is the product of the stoic pause, the failure autopsy, the gratitude refrain, and the therefore principle. It is the unwavering understanding that you cannot control the wind, but you can always adjust your sails. Your inner citadel is built one disciplined thought at a time. With every refusal to catastrophize, every choice to learn, and every moment of gratitude, you pour another foot of concrete and raise another foot of wall. The storms will come. They always do. But when they do, you will not be found in a house of cards. You will stand firm within your fortress, tested and proven, calm at the center of the chaos. You have forged the inner core. Now, it is time to build the structures that will make your discipline automatic. Chapter 3: The Architect of Your Days, Mastering Habit Formation. The forging of your future self. We are not merely what we think. We are not primarily what we feel. We are, in the final and most brutal accounting, what we do. The chasm between aspiration and reality is bridged not by good intentions, but by the steel and concrete of daily practice. Excellence is not an act, but a habit. This is not a platitude. It is a law of human nature as immutable as gravity. Consider the Golden Gate Bridge, a monument to human ambition. The towers, majestic and visible for miles, represent your discipline, the visible strength that commands respect. But what holds the immense weight of the deck, the traffic, the very promise of connection? It is the thousands of individual steel cables woven together into massive suspenders. Each cable is unremarkable on its own. Yet, without this intricate, interwoven network, the towers are merely decorative sculptures, and the bridge collapses into the chasm below. Your character is the bridge. Your grand goals are the distant shore. Your discipline is the tower. But your habits, the small, repeated, often invisible actions you take each day, are the cables. They are the structural integrity of your life. Without them, your discipline is a temporary, brittle force that will shatter under the first significant pressure. With them, your success becomes not a hopeful possibility, but an inevitable consequence of your design. In this chapter, you will cease to be a passive tenant in the house of your life. You will become its architect. You will learn to design your days with such precision that the right actions become automatic, and failure becomes a mathematical impossibility. We will move from the internal fortress of the mind you built in Chapter 2 to the external architecture of automatic, unstoppable behavior. This is where willpower is transformed into won't power, because you will no longer need to decide. The system will decide for you. The habit loop, deconstructing the autopilot. To command your habits, you must first understand their machinery. Deep within your brain lies a structure called the basal ganglia, the seat of habit formation. Its evolutionary purpose is efficiency, to take repeated behaviors and convert them into automatic routines, freeing your conscious mind, the prefrontal cortex, for higher-order tasks like solving novel problems. This process creates a neurological circuit known as the habit loop, a concept masterfully detailed by Charles Duhigg. This loop is a three-part sequence that governs virtually every automatic behavior you possess. 1. The cue. This is the trigger that launches your brain into autopilot. It is a piece of information that predicts a reward. Cues can be a location, your couch, cue for watching TV. A time, 3 p.m., cue for an energy slump and a coffee run. An emotional state, stress, cue for biting nails or scrolling social media. Presence of other people, your colleagues going for a smoke break, cue for you to join, even if you don't smoke. An immediately preceding action, brushing your teeth, a potential cue for flossing. 2. The routine. This is the behavior itself, the habitual action you take, whether physical, going for a run, mental, worrying, or emotional, feeling a pang of jealousy. This is the actual habit people refer to. 3. The reward. This is the payoff that satisfies your brain's craving. The reward teaches your brain, this loop is worth remembering for the future. Rewards can be biological, a dopamine hit from sugar, fat, or social validation. Emotional, the numbing of anxiety, a feeling of relief, or a sense of belonging. Psychological, a feeling of accomplishment or progress. The loop is a self-reinforcing cycle, cue routine reward. Every time you complete the loop, the neurological pathway deepens, like a river carving a canyon. Soon, the cue and reward become neurologically intertwined, creating a powerful sense of craving. The sight of your phone, cue, doesn't just prompt you to check it. It creates a craving for the hit of novelty and reward. This craving is what makes habits so powerful, and at times, so destructive. Your mission, as the architect of your life, is to seize control of this loop. You will not leave it to chance. You will engineer it. The 4 laws of command, a framework for invincible habits. James Clear, in his seminal work Atomic Habits, distilled the process of habit formation into 4 brilliant laws. These are not suggestions. They are the fundamental principles of behavioral design. To install a new, powerful habit, you must execute the following commands. The first law, make it obvious, command your cues. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. James Clear. Your environment is a silent, relentless form of persuasion. Bad habits persist because their cues are embedded in your surroundings, shouting for your attention. The key to building good habits is to make their cues impossible to ignore, while silencing the cues of your bad habits. Your strategic playbook. 1. Implementation intention, the when-aware protocol. Stop relying on vague promises like, I'll exercise more. Your brain ignores vagueness. You must issue a precise command. Use this formula. I will a behavior at time in a location. Vague. I'll read more. Command. I will read 1 chapter at 9 p.m. in my living room armchair. This simple act of predecision dramatically increases the likelihood of follow-through by creating a clear trigger in your mind. 2. Habit stacking, the power of the sequential trigger. One of the most potent techniques is to stack a new habit onto an existing one. You are leveraging the robust neural pathway of an established habit as a launchpad for a new one. The formula is precise. After a current habit, I will a new habit. After I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 60 seconds. After I sit down at my desk, I will write my 1 most important task for the day. After I brush my teeth at night, I will floss 1 tooth. The existing habit becomes an unshakable cue for the new one, creating a chain of automaticity. 3. Environment design, architecting for victory. Stop trying to be disciplined in a chaotic environment. You will lose. Instead, design your environment to make discipline the path of least resistance. To read more, place a book on your pillow every morning. You must move it to go to bed. To eat healthier, pre-cut vegetables and place them at eye level in clear containers in the fridge. Place junk food in opaque containers in the least accessible cupboard. To practice guitar, leave it on a stand in the center of your living room, not in a case under your bed. To focus, have a dedicated, clean workspace. Use a different chair or room for leisure. The inversion for breaking bad habits, make it invisible. The most effective way to stop a bad habit is to remove its cue. Out of sight is, neurologically, out of mind. Problem, mindlessly scrolling social media. Command, delete the apps from your phone. Log out of the browser version after every use. Charge your phone in another room overnight. Problem, watching too much television. Command, unplug the TV and put the remote in a drawer after each use. Take the batteries out. You are not fighting willpower, you are removing the battlefield. The second law, make it attractive, command your cravings. The anticipation of the reward is often more powerful than the reward itself. This is the engine of craving, driven by the neurotransmitter dopamine. We can hijack this system to make good habits irresistible. Your strategic playbook. 1. Temptation bundling, the dual-purpose protocol. Bundle a habit you need to do with a habit you want to do. This links the dopamine of a desired activity with one you're trying to build. The formula, only while habit I need, can I habit I want. I can only listen to my favorite true crime podcast while I'm at the gym. I can only watch my favorite Netflix show while I'm on the stationary bike. I can only get my favorite artisan coffee after I've completed my 3 most important tasks for the day. You are not going for a run, you are earning your podcast time while running. 2. Reframing your identity, that I am protocol. The most profound level of habit change is identity change. Shift your focus from what you want to achieve to who you wish to become. Instead of I need to run, the identity is I am a runner. Instead of I should write, the identity is I am a writer. Instead of I have to eat healthy, the identity is I am a person who respects my body. Every time you perform the habit, you are providing evidence for this new identity. It becomes a vote for the person you are becoming. A runner runs. A writer writes. It's what they do. Soon, not doing it feels like a violation of your own code. The inversion for breaking bad habits, make it unattractive. Reframe the consequences of your bad habit. Highlight the real, painful costs. Make the unconscious consequences conscious. Problem, eating junk food when stressed. Command, create a new mantra. When I eat this junk food, I am not indulging, I am poisoning my body, sabotaging my energy, and disrespecting my health. I am choosing sluggishness over vitality. Problem, procrastinating on a project. Command, when I procrastinate, I am not taking a break. I am stealing time from my future self, increasing my stress, and demonstrating a lack of personal integrity. This is a conscious application of negative visualization. You are making the long-term pain more salient than the short-term pleasure. The third law, make it easy, command your effort. Human behavior follows the law of least effort. When faced with 2 options, we will naturally gravitate towards the one that requires the least work. The most common failure in habit formation is the assault of ambition. Grandiose plans, I'll work out for 90 minutes daily, are the enemy of consistency. The secret is to master the art of showing up. Your strategic playbook. 1. The 2-minute rule, the gateway habit. When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. You are not optimizing for the result. You are optimizing for the initiation of the ritual. Run 3 miles becomes put on my running shoes. Read for an hour becomes read 1 page. Write a book becomes write one sentence. Do a 30-minute yoga session becomes roll out my yoga mat. This seems laughably small. That is the point. You are lowering the barrier to entry so dramatically that resistance is futile. The goal is to establish the habit of starting. A habit must be established before it can be improved. Once you are consistently lacing up your shoes, it becomes easy to then step outside. Once you're outside, it's easy to walk for a minute. This gradual expansion is habit shaping. 2. Optimize your environment for frictionless action. Revisit your environment design from Law 1, but now with a focus on minimizing the number of steps between you and the good behavior. Want to practice piano? Have the piano in the main living area, the bench open, and the sheet music on the stand. Want to drink more water? Fill several water bottles and place them in every room you frequent. Want to cook healthy meals? Keep your knives sharp, your pans on the stove, and a clean workspace. The inversion for breaking bad habits, make it difficult. Increase the friction for bad habits. Add steps between you and the behavior. Problem: overspending online. Command: delete your saved credit card information from all shopping sites. Log out after every purchase. This forces you to manually enter details, creating a crucial moment of pause. Problem: wasting evenings on video games. Command: unplug the console and place it in a closet after each use. Wrap the cord and put it in a separate drawer. You are not banning the activity. You are simply ensuring it cannot be an impulsive, frictionless decision. The 4th law: make it satisfying, command your reinforcement. We are more likely to repeat a behavior when the experience is satisfying. The cardinal rule of behavior change is: what is immediately rewarded is repeated. What is immediately punished is avoided. The problem with most good habits is that their rewards are delayed. The problem with most bad habits is that their rewards are immediate. Your job is to reverse this. Your strategic playbook. 1. Instant reinforcement, the winning feeling. You must engineer an immediate, tangible reward for completing your habit. Visual tracking. Get a calendar and put a big, satisfying X over every day you complete your habit. This don't break the chain method, championed by Jerry Seinfeld, is powerful because it provides visual proof of your commitment. The chain itself becomes an asset you don't want to lose. Oh, small treats. Enjoy a piece of dark chocolate after a healthy meal. Give yourself 15 minutes of guilt-free leisure after a deep work session. The key is that the reward must be immediate and contingent on the habit. 2. Habit tracking and measurement, the evidence of progress. What gets measured gets managed. Tracking a habit inherently makes it satisfying because you are collecting evidence of your progress. Use a habit tracking app, a spreadsheet, or a simple journal. The act of recording the completion is a mini reward in itself. The inversion for breaking bad habits, make it unsatisfying. Add an immediate cost to the behavior. Strategy, the habit contract. Create a contract with an accountability partner. State your goal and the punishment for failure. The punishment must be immediate and painful. If I smoke a cigarette, I will immediately wire $100 to a political campaign I despise. If I miss my morning workout, I have to clean the bathrooms for my entire family. If I eat junk food during the week, I must post an embarrassing childhood photo on social media. The immediate sting of social or financial pain must be greater than the immediate pleasure of the bad habit. The compound effect, the alchemy of atomic gains. Do not be deceived by the smallness of the start. The atomic in atomic habits is deliberate. A single atom is insignificant. But when you split it, you release a power that can illuminate a city. Your habits are the same. The math is undeniable. a 1% improvement each day seems like nothing. But 1% compounded daily leads to a 37-fold improvement over a year. Conversely, a 1% decline each day collapses you to nearly zero. Small, seemingly insignificant choices, repeated consistently, create an unbreachable gap between you and the person you used to be. Your 2-minute meditation becomes 5. Your 1 page becomes 10. Your single sentence becomes a paragraph. The act of lacing up your running shoes leads you out the door for a 5-minute walk, which becomes a 10-minute jog. The chain of excess on the calendar becomes a source of pride so profound that you would rather run in the pouring rain than break the chain. This is the architecture of transformation. You are not building a single, monumental pillar of effort destined to crack. You are weaving thousands of tiny, unbreakable steel cables, your atomic habits, into a suspender of discipline that can support the weight of your grandest ambitions. You are moving from relying on the fickle resource of willpower to relying on the unyielding certainty of an automated system. As Aldous Huxley observed, consistency is contrary to nature, contrary to life. The only completely consistent people are the dead. He was right. You will not be perfect. You will have off days. The goal is not perfect, robotic adherence. The goal is a faithful, relentless return to the system. To miss a day is a data point, not a death sentence. The only true failure is the failure to re-engage. In conclusion, the excavation is complete. The blueprint is in your hands. You now understand the fundamental machinery of the habit loop and possess the 4 laws to command it. You are no longer a victim of your impulses, a slave to your environment, or a passive observer of your own life. You are the architect. You are the sculptor. The raw material of your future is the substance of your present days. Every time you make a cue obvious, you are laying a foundation. Every time you make a routine attractive and easy, you are erecting a pillar. Every time you make a reward satisfying, you are setting that pillar in unbreakable cement. You are, right now, a living collection of your past habits. And you will be, in the future, a collection of your present ones. The chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken. Forge them with intention. The cables of your character are now woven. The structure is sound. With this automated system of positive habits running silently in the background, you have just liberated your most precious and finite resource, your focused, conscious attention. It is time to learn how to wield this razor-sharp tool. It is time to become unstoppable. Turn the page. Chapter 4. The focused arrow, eliminating distraction and managing time. Introduction, the scarcest resource. We think we live in an attention economy, but that's not quite right. We live in an attention economy. Every click, every scroll, every notification is a bid for your most valuable asset, your focus. Unlike time, which passes for everyone at the same relentless rate, focus is a resource you can control. You can spend it wisely, or you can fritter it away, penny by penny, until the day is gone and your most important tasks remain undone. The disciplined individual understands this fundamental truth: time management is a myth. You cannot manage time, you can only manage yourself in time. And the primary lever for self-management in the 21st century is the defense and cultivation of deep focus. In this chapter, we will move from building the automated systems of habit to mastering the art of concentrated, deliberate effort. We will learn to be not just busy, but productive. Not just active, but effective. We will learn to fire our energy and intellect like a focused arrow, straight at the bullseye of our goals, cutting through the fog of distraction that surrounds us. The enemy of depth, the tyranny of the shallow. In his groundbreaking book Deep Work, author and Professor Cal Newport draws a crucial distinction that defines modern productivity. Deep work, professional activities performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that push your cognitive capabilities to their limit. These efforts create new value, improve your skill, and are hard to replicate. E.g., writing a chapter, coding a complex feature, developing a strategy. Shallow work, non-cognitively demanding, logistical-style tasks, often performed while distracted. These efforts do not create much new value in the world and are easy to replicate. E.g., answering most emails, attending routine meetings, filling out forms. The modern workplace, with its open-plan offices and barrage of communication tools like Slack and Teams, is engineered for shallow work. It feels busy and productive. You can clear out your inbox, attend back-to-back meetings, and tick off dozens of small tasks, feeling a sense of accomplishment. But this is a trap. This is the tyranny of the shallow. It creates a productivity illusion, while the truly important, legacy-building deep work remains perpetually on the back burner. As the computer scientist and essayist Paul Graham noted, most modern jobs create a manager's schedule, a day chopped into hour-long intervals, perfect for shallow work, but deadly for deep thinking. The disciplined individual must actively fight to carve out periods for depth. The principles of focus, forging your arrow. To achieve deep work, you must build rituals and routines that protect your focus. This is not about finding more time. It is about changing how you operate within the time you have. Principle 1. Schedule your depth and your shallowness. The most common mistake is to hope that deep work will happen when you find a free moment. It won't. You must schedule it with the same rigidity as you would a critical meeting with the CEO. Strategy: time blocking. At the start of each day or week, literally block out chunks of time in your calendar for your deep work tasks. Treat these blocks as unbreakable appointments. A 90-minute block for project proposal draft is not a suggestion, it is a command. During this block, you go completely dark, phone on airplane mode, email and notifications closed, and door closed, if possible. Strategy: the shallow work batch. Conversely, schedule specific, limited times for shallow work. For example, process your email only from 10 to 10:45 a.m. and 4 to 4:30 p.m. By batching these tasks, you prevent them from leaching into and fragmenting your entire day. Principle 2. Embrace boredom to train your focus muscle. Your ability to concentrate is a muscle. And just like a physical muscle, it must be trained, and it must be rested. The constant, easy distraction of our phones has atrophied our focus muscles. We reach for a stimulus at the slightest hint of boredom, waiting in line, sitting on a bus, even during a lull in a conversation. Strategy: scheduled boredom. To rebuild your focus, you must practice boredom. Leave your phone at home when you go for a walk. Sit in a waiting room without pulling out a device. Stand in line and just be. Your mind will rebel. It will scream for distraction. Your job is to resist. This is mental weightlifting. By training your brain to tolerate boredom, you strengthen its ability to resist the pull of distraction when you are trying to do deep work. Principle 3. Ruthlessly prune the unessential. Focus is not just about what you pay attention to, it's also about what you ignore. The disciplined individual is a ruthless editor of their commitments. Strategy: the Eisenhower Matrix. Popularized by President Dwight D. Eisenhower, this simple decision-making tool divides tasks into 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1, urgent and important, crises, deadlines. Do it now. Quadrant 2, not urgent but important, deep work, planning, relationship building, learning. Schedule it. This is the quadrant of the disciplined. Quadrant 3, urgent but not important, most emails, some meetings, interruptions. Delegate it or minimize it. Quadrant 4, not urgent and not important, mindless scrolling, trivial busy work. Eliminate it. The goal is to maximize your time in quadrant 2, as this is where true progress and fulfillment lie. Most people spend their lives reacting to quadrants 1 and 3, never building the future they want. The arsenal of focus, practical tactics for a distracted world. Understanding the principles of focus is the strategic map. Now, we arm ourselves with the specific tactics to win the daily battles against interruption. These are the tools that will transform your scheduled deep work blocks from a hopeful intention into an unbreachable fortress of concentration. Tactic 1, the Pomodoro technique, focus in sprints. Developed by Francesco Cirillo in the late 1980s, this technique is deceptively simple yet profoundly effective. It works by breaking work into focused intervals, traditionally 25 minutes long, separated by short breaks. This method leverages the fact that the human brain can maintain high focus for short bursts and needs regular rest to recharge. How to implement it? 1. Choose a task. Select your most important deep work item. 2. Set a timer for 25 minutes. Work on the task with undivided attention until the timer rings. 3. Mark 1 Pomodoro. Acknowledge the completion of one interval. 4. Take a short break, 5 minutes, step away from your desk. Stretch, get water, look out a window. Do not check email or social media. 5. Repeat. After 4 Pomodoros, take a longer break, 15 to 30 minutes. Why it works? It makes starting less daunting. You only commit to 25 minutes. It creates an urgent rhythm that discourages distraction, and the scheduled breaks prevent burnout and mental fatigue. It is the practical application of making deep work easy by chunking it. Tactic 2. Digital decluttering, building a firewall against interruption. Your devices are not neutral tools. They are sophisticated attention extraction machines engineered to be addictive. Discipline requires you to re-engineer them to serve you, not their developers. Actionable steps. Turn off all non-essential notifications. This is non-negotiable. Every ping, buzz, and banner is a vote against your focus. If it's truly urgent, people will call you. Use website blockers. Tools like Freedom, Cold Turkey, or the built-in focus modes on iOS or Windows can block access to distracting websites and apps during your deep work blocks. Create a deep work phone mode. Remove all social media, news, and entertainment apps from your phone's home screen. Place them in a folder on a secondary screen. Better yet, delete them and only use them on a desktop browser, which adds friction. Establish an email protocol. Set an autoresponder during deep work blocks. Thank you for your message. I am currently in a focused work session and will not be checking email until time. For urgent matters, please call or text me at a number. This manages sender expectations and frees you from the guilt of an overflowing inbox. Tactic 3. The concentration sanctuary, designing your physical space. Your environment must signal to your brain that it is time to focus. Just as you wouldn't sleep at your desk, you shouldn't try to do deep work in a space associated with relaxation or shallow activity. How to create it? Dedicated space. If possible, have a specific desk or room for deep work. Context cues. User do not disturb sign on your office door. Wear noise-cancelling headphones, even without music, to signal unavailability and block auditory distractions. Pre-session ritual. Develop a 5-minute ritual to start your deep work block. This could be tidying your desk, pouring a glass of water, and reviewing your goal for the session. This ritual, much like a habit stack, cues your brain to shift into a state of concentration. The art of saying no, protecting your focus with boundaries. The ultimate weapon in your focus arsenal is your ability to decline requests that do not align with your deepest priorities. Every yes to a shallow request is a no to a deep one. As the investor Warren Buffett famously said, "The difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything." This isn't about being rude, it's about being strategic. You must become the guardian of your own time and attention. Strategies for saying no. The "not now" that sounds interesting. "My plate is completely full this week, but could you circle back with me next month?" The transparent "no, thank you for thinking of me. To be honest, I have to protect my focus on your key project right now, so I need to decline." The delegation "no, I'm not the best person for that." Have you considered asking name? Saying no is a declaration that your time and mission are valuable. It is a profound act of self-discipline. The bullseye mindset. The focused mind is the most powerful force in personal and professional achievement. In a world of noise, the ability to concentrate is a superpower. By scheduling your depth, embracing boredom, ruthlessly pruning distractions, and defending your time with clear boundaries, you transform your scattered energy into a laser beam. You are no longer a leaf blown about by the winds of other people's agendas and digital interruptions. You are the archer, drawing the bowstring with calm intention, your gaze fixed on the bullseye. The world will always provide distractions. The disciplined individual provides the focus. With your focus sharpened, you must now turn to the engine that powers it all, the physical body. A sharp mind is useless without the energy to wield it. Chapter 5: The Temple and the Fortress, the non-negotiable discipline of physical mastery. Introduction: the bedrock of all achievement. Let us be unequivocally clear, you do not have a body, you are your body. The Cartesian lie of a mind separate from its physical vessel is the single greatest intellectual error ever foisted upon the pursuit of excellence. Your brain is not a ghost in a machine, it is an organ, encased in bone, suspended in fluid, and powered by blood. Every thought you think, every decision you make, and every ounce of willpower you exert, is a biological process. To believe you can build a palace of discipline on a foundation of wet sand is the height of folly. You can have the most brilliant strategy, the most resilient mindset, and the most powerful habits, but if your physical vessel is weak, underslept, and malnourished, you are attempting to run sophisticated software on a machine with a failing power supply, corrupted hardware, and no cooling fan. It will crash. It is not a matter of if, but when. This chapter is not about vanity. It is not about six-pack abs or marathon times, unless those are your specific goals. This chapter is about performance optimization. It is about transforming your body from a liability, a source of fatigue, illness, and low-grade anxiety, into your greatest asset, a reliable, high-performance vehicle for your ambition. Your body is both a temple, a sacred space to be maintained with respect and precision, and a fortress, a resilient structure designed to withstand the sieges of stress, pressure, and fatigue. The discipline of physical self-mastery is the non-negotiable bedrock upon which all other disciplines stand. Neglect it, and the entire structure becomes unstable. Fortify it, and you become unstoppable. We will master the trinity of physical sovereignty, movement, nourishment, and rest. This is not a suggestion. It is the operating manual you were never given. Part 1: Movement, the kinetic engine of willpower. Movement is not optional. It is a fundamental biological imperative. Our ancestors walked, ran, lifted, carried, and climbed as a matter of survival. A sedentary life is an evolutionary anomaly, and your biology rebels against it with a cascade of dysfunction. Exercise is not a workout. It is the essential maintenance required for your human machinery to function as designed. The neurochemical payoff: forging a resilient brain. When you think of exercise, you likely picture its effects on your muscles and heart. But the most significant benefits are conferred upon your command center, your brain. The BDNF miracle: physical activity, particularly sustained cardiovascular exercise, triggers the release of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF. Think of BDNF as Miracle-Grow for your brain. It strengthens existing neurons, encourages the growth of new ones, neurogenesis, particularly in the hippocampus, the seat of memory and learning, and fortifies the synapses that connect them. A workout is not just building muscle, it is physically building a better brain, enhancing cognitive function, memory, and learning speed. The stress inoculation: when you exercise, you voluntarily induce a controlled stress state. Your heart rate elevates, your body temperature rises, and stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline course through your system. By repeatedly exposing yourself to this controlled stress, you teach your body and mind how to manage it effectively. You build a physiological tolerance. The next time a work crisis or a personal conflict triggers a stress response, your system is not sent into a panic. It recognizes the feeling and says, "I know this. I handle this every morning. I can manage this." Furthermore, exercise metabolizes excess stress hormones and stimulates the release of endorphins, your body's natural mood elevators and painkillers. The willpower dividend. As we established in Chapter 1, willpower is a finite physiological resource. Exercise is a direct deposit into that account. The discipline of consistently showing up for a workout, of pushing through discomfort, strengthens the neural pathways associated with self-control. You are not just doing squats. You are practicing the act of overriding your immediate desire to quit. This practice discipline spills over into every other area of your life. The disciplined approach to movement, consistency over heroism. The single greatest mistake people make is embracing an all-or-nothing mentality. They launch into a brutal, unsustainable regimen, burn out in a blaze of pain and exhaustion, and then quit entirely. Your command, the law of minimum effective dose. Your goal is not to be the most intense person in the gym for 2 weeks. Your goal is to be the most consistent person in the gym for decades. 1. Eliminate the barrier to entry, the 2-minute rule revisited. Your initial goal is not to run 5K or have a 60-minute gym session. Your goal is to put on your workout clothes. That's it. Once they are on, your goal is to get out the door. Once you're out the door, your goal is to walk for 5 minutes. You are systematically dismantling the resistance by making the starting point laughably easy. The habit of starting is infinitely more important than the intensity of the session. 2. Find your minimum viable dose. What is the smallest amount of exercise you can do consistently? 3 to 5 times per week. That will yield 80% of the benefits. For most people, this is not a 2-hour daily CrossFit session. It is strength, 30 to 45 minutes of resistance training 2 to 3 times per week. Cardio, 150 minutes of moderate intensity, brisk walking, cycling, or 75 minutes of high-intensity cardio per week. Start here. Master consistency at this level. Intensity can be added later. 3. Embrace functional strength. Your training should make you better at life. Focus on compound, functional movements that mimic real-world activities. Squats, sitting and standing, hinges, deadlifts, picking up heavy objects, pushes, push-ups, overhead press, and pulls of rows, pull-ups. These movements build a body that is resilient, capable, and injury-proof, not just aesthetically pleasing. Part 2. Nourishment. You are what you absorb. Food is not entertainment. It is not comfort. It is not a reward. These are emotional constructs that have been weaponized by a food industry designed to exploit your biological cravings. For the disciplined individual, food has one primary purpose: fuel and information. Every morsel you consume is a set of instructions sent to your DNA, triggering hormonal cascades, modulating inflammation, and directly influencing your energy levels, mood, and cognitive clarity. The metabolic command center, managing your energy currency. The blood sugar roller coaster. When you consume processed carbohydrates and sugar, they are rapidly broken down into glucose and flood your bloodstream. Your pancreas responds by releasing a large amount of insulin to shuttle this glucose into your cells. This often leads to a rapid drop in blood sugar, a crash, triggering fatigue, brain fog, irritability, and intense cravings for more sugar to restart the cycle. This roller coaster is kryptonite for discipline, as it directly impairs prefrontal cortex function. The stable energy state. When you consume a balanced diet rich in protein, healthy fats, and fiber, the digestion process is slower. Glucose is released into the bloodstream at a steady, manageable rate. This provides stable, long-lasting energy, mental clarity, and emotional equilibrium. Your willpower bank remains full, because it is not being constantly drained by metabolic emergencies. The disciplined approach to nourishment, becoming the gatekeeper. You cannot outsource your nutrition to marketing departments and drive-through windows. You must become the intelligent, ruthless gatekeeper of what enters your body. 1. The first commandment: hydrate or deteriorate. Your brain is approximately 75% water. Even mild dehydration, a 1 to 2% loss of body weight, can significantly impair concentration, short-term memory, and cognitive performance. Thirst is often misinterpreted as hunger or fatigue. The protocol: drink a large glass of water immediately upon waking to rehydrate after sleep. Keep a dedicated water bottle at your desk and aim to consume your body weight in pounds, divided by 2, in ounces of water per day, e.g., a 180 pounds person equals 90 ounces of water. 2. Prioritize whole, single-ingredient foods. Build your diet around foods that spoil. If it comes in a package with a long list of unpronounceable ingredients, it is not food, it is a food-like product. Your plate should be a colorful array of proteins, the building blocks: meat, fish, eggs, legumes. Healthy fats, hormone production, brain health, avocado, olive oil, nuts, seeds. Vegetables and fruits, micronutrients, fiber, antioxidants. The more color, the better. Complex carbohydrates, sustained energy: oats, sweet potatoes, quinoa, brown rice. 3. The discipline of preparation, the Sunday ritual. Willpower fails in the face of hunger and convenience. The single most important nutritional discipline is to decide what you will eat before you get hungry. Meal prep. Dedicate 2 to 3 hours on a weekend day to preparing the components of your meals for the week. Grill chicken, roast vegetables, cook quinoa, and hard-boil eggs. When you are tired and hungry on a Tuesday evening, a healthy meal is just an assembly job, not a daunting task. The friction principle. Place pre-cut vegetables and healthy snacks at the front of your fridge. Place junk food out of sight, or do not buy it at all. You are engineering your environment to make the right choice the easy choice. Part 3. Rest, the strategic power of strategic downtime. In our hustle-obsessed culture, rest is often seen as laziness. This is a catastrophic error. Rest is not the opposite of work. It is an essential, productive part of the work. It is when the body and mind repair, rebuild, and consolidate the gains from your efforts. Sleep, the non-negotiable cognitive enhancer. Sleep is the most powerful, legal, performance-enhancing drug known to science. It is not passive. It is a highly active state of maintenance and repair. Memory consolidation and problem-solving. During deep sleep, your brain replays the day's experiences, transferring short-term memories from the hippocampus to the neocortex, where they become long-term knowledge. This process is also why you often wake up with solutions to problems that seemed insurmountable the night before. Your subconscious brain has been working on them. The glymphatic system, the nightly brain wash. Your brain produces metabolic waste products during the day, including beta amyloid, a protein strongly linked to Alzheimer's disease. During deep sleep, your glymphatic system activates, flushing these toxins from your brain with cerebrospinal fluid. Skimping on sleep is like refusing to take out the trash in your home. Eventually, the build-up becomes toxic and dysfunctional. Hormonal regulation. Sleep deprivation wreaks havoc on your hormones. It increases ghrelin, the hunger hormone, and decreases leptin, the satiety hormone, leading to increased appetite and cravings for junk food. It also elevates cortisol, keeping you in a state of chronic, low-grade stress. The disciplined approach to sleep. Protecting the sanctity of your sanctuary. You must defend your sleep with the ferocity of a soldier guarding a fortress gate. 1. Prioritize 7 to 9 hours. This is not a suggestion. It is a prescription for peak mental and physical performance. Schedule your bedtime and wake-up time with the same immovable rigidity as you would a meeting with your most important client. 2. Create a sleep sanctuary. Pitch black. Use blackout curtains or a sleep mask. Any light exposure can disrupt melatonin production. Cool and quiet. A room temperature of 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, 18 to 20 degrees Celsius, is ideal. Use earplugs or a white noise machine if necessary. Tech-free zone. Ban phones, tablets, and TVs from the bedroom. The blue light emitted from screens suppresses melatonin and tricks your brain into thinking it's daytime. Charge your devices in another room. This single act is one of the most impactful discipline hacks you will ever implement. 3. Establish a wind-down ritual. The last hour before bed should be a gradual descent into rest. This signals to your brain that it is time to shift from sympathetic, fight or flight, to parasympathetic, rest and digest, dominance. Activities. Read a physical book, non-work related, take a warm bath, practice light stretching or meditation, and journal to clear your mind of the day's clutter. Avoid strenuous exercise, work emails, stressful conversations, and screen time. Part 4. The synergy of the Trinity and the discipline of listening. Movement, nourishment, and rest are not isolated pillars. They are a deeply interconnected, self-reinforcing system. Neglecting one weakens the entire structure. Quality movement promotes deeper, more restorative sleep. Proper sleep regulates the hormones that control appetite, making healthy nourishment choices easier. Proper nourishment provides the energy and raw materials for effective movement and cellular repair during rest. Trying to excel in one while neglecting the others is like trying to drive a car with a full tank of gas, but a flat tire and a dead battery. The system only works when all components are functional. The final discipline, interoception, the wisdom of the body. Beyond the protocols and systems lies the highest form of physical discipline, the skill of listening to your body. This is interoception, the perception of sensations from inside your body. The undisciplined person is either a tyrant, ignoring their body's signals of fatigue and pain until it breaks, or a slave, capitulating to every fleeting craving and sensation of discomfort. The master, however, is in a dialogue with their body. They learn to distinguish the discomfort of growth, the muscle burn of a final rep, the mental strain of a deep work session. This is a signal to stay the course. The pain of injury, a sharp, stabbing, or localized pain. This is a signal to stop immediately. True hunger versus emotional hunger. Is your body needing fuel, or are you bored, stressed, or thirsty? Fatigue versus lethargy. Are you genuinely sleep deprived, or are you simply unmotivated and need to move? This is not a license for self-indulgence. It is the application of intelligent discernment. Sometimes, the most disciplined decision you can make is to skip a scheduled workout and get an extra hour of sleep, because your body is signaling a genuine need for recovery. This is not a failure of discipline, it is its highest expression. Conclusion: the sovereign self. You now hold the complete blueprint for physical sovereignty. This is not a temporary diet and exercise plan. It is a permanent operating system for your human vehicle. You are the guardian of a temple, a place of respect and precision. You are the commander of a fortress, a structure of resilience and strength. You are the master of a biological engine that, when properly maintained, can power a life of unparalleled achievement and fulfillment. The path of least resistance is to neglect this vessel, to fuel it with garbage, to deprive it of rest, and to let it atrophy. That path leads to a life of managed decline, of untapped potential, of being a passenger in your own story. The path of discipline is to take ownership, to move with purpose, to nourish with intelligence, to rest with intention. This path leads to vitality, clarity, and the profound confidence that comes from knowing you are built to last. The foundation is now laid. It is solid, resilient, and unshakable. Upon this foundation, we will now build the structures of a focused and resilient mind. The fortress is secure. Now, we arm the garrison. Chapter 6: The Resilient Spirit Bouncing Back from Setbacks and Failure. The Alchemy of Failure. Let us be unequivocal: you will fail. You will fall short. You will be rejected. You will make mistakes that cost you time, money, and pride. This is not a possibility. It is a certainty on the path to any meaningful achievement. The defining factor in your ultimate success is not whether you fail, but how you respond to that failure. Do you allow it to be a tombstone, marking the end of your effort? Or do you use it as a stepping stone, a source of invaluable data that propels you forward? This chapter is about the discipline of resilience. It is the mental and emotional alchemy that transforms the leaden weight of failure into the gold of wisdom. It is the practiced ability to get back up, dust yourself off, and continue with more insight, more strength, and more determination than before. As the Japanese proverb goes, fall 7 times, stand up 8. Resilience is that 8th strand. Reframing failure, from verdict to data. The first and most critical discipline of resilience is cognitive. You must change your internal definition of failure. The fixed mindset versus the growth mindset, revisited as introduced in Chapter 2. Carol Dweck's research is paramount here. The fixed mindset interprets failure as a final verdict on your capabilities. I am a failure. The growth mindset interprets it as an event. I experienced a failure. This subtle linguistic shift is seismic in its psychological impact. It separates your identity from the outcome, freeing you to analyze the event objectively. The scientist's mindset. Adopt the perspective of a scientist running an experiment. No experiment truly fails, it simply produces data. A result that contradicts your hypothesis is not a catastrophe. It is a discovery that narrows the path to the truth. Thomas Edison's famous perspective on his 10,000 attempts to invent the light bulb is the classic example. I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Each failure was a data point that eliminated a dead end and brought him closer to the solution. The disciplined, resilient individual does not ask, who is to blame, but rather, what can I learn? The ritual of the comeback, a practical framework. Resilience is not a vague concept, it is a process. When you encounter a setback, engage in this structured ritual to ensure you recover stronger. Step 1. Acknowledge and process the emotion, the Stoic pause, revisited. Do not suppress the disappointment, frustration, or anger. These are natural, human emotions. Allow yourself to feel them, but give them a time limit. Acknowledge the feeling. I am feeling devastated that I lost that client, and then, after a designated period of an hour, a day, consciously decide to move to the next step. This is the application of the Stoic pause from Chapter 2, preventing an emotional reaction from dictating your long-term response. Step 2. Conduct the failure autopsy, the strategic analysis. As outlined in Chapter 2, This is where you shift from emotion to analysis. With calm detachment, dissect the event. What were the contributing factors? Both internal and external. What was within my control? This is where you must take radical ownership. What was outside my control? What is the one key lesson here? This autopsy extracts the wisdom from the wound. Step 3. Recalibrate and pivot, the adaptive action. Data is useless without action. Based on the lessons from your autopsy, you must now adjust your approach. Do you need to acquire a new skill? Do you need to change your strategy? Do you need to seek out a mentor or different resources? This is the, therefore, principle from Chapter 2 in action. I failed to secure the investment, therefore, I will rewrite my pitch deck and practice it with 5 trusted advisors before my next meeting. Step 4. Recommit and take the next small step, the momentum builder. The most important action after a fall is to take one small, forward-moving step. This breaks the paralysis of failure and rebuilds momentum. It can be tiny, sending one email, writing one paragraph, making one phone call. As the ancient Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu said, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. The resilient spirit understands that after a stumble, you must simply take that single step again. Building your resilience reservoir, fortifying your spirit in advance. Waiting for a crisis to build resilience is like waiting for a drought to build a well. The truly disciplined individual builds their resilience reservoir during times of calm, ensuring they have a deep reserve of strength to draw from when storms inevitably arrive. This proactive approach transforms resilience from a desperate reaction into a strategic strength. 1. Cultivate a robust why, your anchor in the storm. As established in Chapter 1, your deep, emotional why is your North Star. In the context of resilience, it becomes your anchor. When failure threatens to capsize you, a powerful why provides the ballast to keep you upright. The soldier endures unimaginable hardship for their comrades and country. The entrepreneur weathers bankruptcy because they believe in their mission. The parent persists through exhaustion for the sake of their child. Action: revisit your why ladder regularly. Write it down and place it where you can see it daily. When you feel like quitting, reread it. Ask yourself, is this setback enough to make me abandon my ultimate purpose? The answer is almost always a resounding no. 2. Develop a practice of self-compassion. Discipline is often mistaken for self-flagellation. The resilient spirit understands that discipline must be tempered with self-compassion. Dr. Kristen Neff, a leading researcher on the topic, defines self-compassion as comprising 3 elements: self-kindness, being warm and understanding towards ourselves; common humanity, recognizing that suffering and failure are part of the shared human experience; and mindfulness, holding our painful thoughts in balanced awareness. Action: when you fail, talk to yourself as you would to a trusted friend in the same situation. You would not call them a failure. You would likely say, "This is really hard, and I'm sorry you're going through it. Everyone messes up. What can we learn from this?" This practice prevents the shame spiral that cripples resilience and allows you to recover with your self-worth intact. 3. Curate your support network, the fellowship of the resilient. Resilience is not a solo endeavor. We are social creatures, and our ability to bounce back is profoundly influenced by the people we surround ourselves with. The Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius didn't navigate his burdens alone. He reflected on the virtues of those he admired. You need a fellowship, a small circle of trusted individuals who offer not pity, but perspective, not excuses, but honest feedback and unwavering belief. Action: identify the 3 to 5 people in your life who fill your tank rather than drain it. Be intentional about investing in these relationships. Have the courage to be vulnerable with them when you struggle. As the African proverb states, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. 4. Embrace the anti-fragile mindset. Author and scholar Nassim Nicholas Taleb introduced a crucial concept that goes beyond resilience, anti-fragility. While a resilient system can withstand a shock and remain the same, an anti-fragile system actually improves, grows stronger, and gains from volatility, disorder, and stresses. The muscle metaphor. A muscle is not resilient to exercise, it is anti-fragile. You literally tear the muscle fibers by stressing them, and through the process of recovery, they rebuild stronger than before. Cultivating anti-fragility. Ask yourself not just how can I survive this failure, but how can this failure improve me? How can it force me to adapt, innovate, or develop a strength I wouldn't have otherwise? This is the highest level of the resilient spirit. It looks at chaos and sees not a threat, but a training ground. The story you tell, weaving failure into your narrative. Every person who has ever achieved anything of significance has a failure resume. The difference is in how they integrated those failures into their life story. Did they become the scars that define their limitations, or the battle trophies that testify to their strength? The disciplined individual is the author of their own narrative. They do not hide their failures. They reframe them as essential chapters in their hero's journey. The rejection letter becomes the catalyst for a better project. The business failure became the crucible where they learned their most valuable lessons. The heartbreak becomes the event that taught them the depth of their own capacity to love and endure. As the author J.K. Rowling, who faced poverty and rejection before the success of Harry Potter, told Harvard graduates, "It is impossible to live without failing at something, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case, you fail by default." The Phoenix Principle. Resilience is the discipline of the spirit. It is the practiced art of falling, learning, and rising again, not just to your previous height, but to a higher plane of understanding and capability. It is the acceptance that the path to success is not a straight line, but a series of zigzags, corrections, and comebacks. By reframing failure as data, building your reservoir in advance, and weaving your setbacks into a story of growth, you embody the Phoenix Principle, the ability to be consumed by the fires of adversity and to rise from the ashes again and again, each time wiser, stronger, and more formidable than before. You have learned to bounce back from the inevitable falls. But success is not a series of sprints, it is a marathon. It is time to learn the discipline of the long game, how to sustain your effort, patience, and focus over a lifetime. Chapter 7: The Long Game, the Architecture of a Legacy. Introduction: The Cathedral Builders. Imagine two stonecutters in the 12th century, toiling in a dusty quarry. A traveler approaches the first and asks, "What are you doing?" The man, weary and sweating, scowls and replies, "I am cutting this damned rock into a block, just like the one before it and the one after it. It's backbreaking, monotonous work." The traveler moves to the second stonecutter, who is humming, his movements fluid and precise. He is asked the same question, "What are you doing?" The man pauses, looks up towards the horizon with a gleam in his eye, and says, "I am building a cathedral." This book, until this point, has equipped you with the tools of the first stonecutter. You have learned to cut the rock. You know how to wield the hammer of habit, the chisel of focus, and the measuring line of self-awareness. You can create a perfect block, a disciplined day, a productive week. But this chapter is about the vision of the second stonecutter. It is about the cathedral. It is about the discipline to see beyond the immediate block in front of you and to dedicate yourself to a creation so vast that you may not live to see its final spire pierce the sky. The long game is the ultimate expression of discipline. It is the quiet understanding that true success is not a sprint, but a marathon run over a lifetime. It is the rejection of the modern cult of urgency, the hysterical chase for quarterly results, viral fame, and instant transformation. It is the calm, steadfast commitment to a trajectory, a compounding of effort that transforms modest, consistent actions into an unstoppable force. In the long game, you are not a passive player. You are the architect of your legacy. This chapter is your blueprint. Part 1: The myth of the finish line and the tyranny of the short term. We are culturally and neurologically wired for the short term. Our ancestors lived in a world of immediate threats and immediate rewards. Find food now, avoid the predator now. Our brains, specifically the limbic system, still crave that quick hit of dopamine, that instant gratification. The modern world preys on this. It sells us get-rich-quick schemes, 30-day body transformations, and the seductive lie of the finish line. The deception of arrival. The greatest lie we tell ourselves is, I will be happy when I get the promotion. When I lose 20 pounds. When I hit my financial target. This arrival fallacy is a psychological trap. The research is clear. The euphoria of achieving a major goal is astonishingly brief. The promotion comes, and within weeks or months, the new title becomes your normal, and your gaze shifts to the next horizon. The finish line is a mirage. The disciplined individual sees through this illusion. They understand that the reward is not in the distant destination, but in the quality of the journey itself. The joy is in the craft, in the process of becoming. The writer who only dreams of holding a published book will be disillusioned by the reality of the publishing process and the silence after release. The writer who falls in love with the daily ritual of wrestling words onto a page has discovered a renewable source of fulfillment, whether the book becomes a bestseller or not. The long game requires a fundamental reframing. There is no finish line. There is only a path. Your goal is not to reach a point on the map and stop. It is to ensure you are on a path that is meaningful, challenging, and aligned with your core values, and to walk it with integrity and consistency for the rest of your days. The economic engine of compounding, your most faithful ally. If there is one mathematical concept that should be the bedrock of your philosophy, it is the principle of compounding. While most famously applied to finance, its power in personal development is exponentially greater. Compounding is the process where an asset's earnings, from either capital gains or interest, generate their own earnings. In the context of your life, the asset is you. The Chinese bamboo tree parable revisited. We introduced this earlier, but its depth is worth plumbing. For the first 4 years after planting, the Chinese bamboo tree shows no visible sign of growth. It doesn't even break the soil. An impatient farmer would conclude the seed was dead and abandon it. But a farmer playing the long game continues to water and fertilize it. Then, in the 5th year, the tree explodes, growing 80 feet in just 6 weeks. The critical lesson is not just patience, but faith in the invisible process. During those 4 years, the tree was not dormant. It was building an immense, deep, and complex root system, a foundation strong enough to support its spectacular vertical growth. Your efforts, for months or even years, may seem to yield nothing. You may read book after book without feeling wiser. You may go to the gym week after week without seeing a dramatic change in the mirror. You may save small amounts of money that feel insignificant. But beneath the surface, you are building your root system. You are compounding knowledge, resilience, strength, and capital. When the right conditions arrive, the opportunity for a promotion, a market shift, a personal challenge, you will be ready for your own 80-foot growth spurt, not because of luck, but because of the silent, patient work you invested long before anyone was watching. The 1% rule in action, James Clear's formula, is the practical application of compounding. A 1% improvement daily seems trivial. It is invisible on a day-to-day basis. You won't feel 1% smarter, stronger, or richer. But the math is merciless and magnificent. 1% better every day compounds to being 37 times better in a year. Conversely, a 1% daily decline reduces you to nearly zero. The long game is won not by heroic, all-or-nothing efforts, but by the relentless, undramatic pursuit of being just a little bit better today than you were yesterday. Part 2. The 3 pillars of lifelong discipline. To sustain effort over a lifetime, you cannot rely on fleeting willpower. You must build your life around pillars that prevent burnout and foster enduring motivation. These pillars transform discipline from a struggle into a sustainable way of being. Pillar 1. Systems over goals, the engine of the long game. A goal is a specific, often distant, outcome you want to achieve, e.g., write a 300-page book, or lose 30 pounds. A system is the process you follow daily that makes that outcome inevitable, e.g., write 500 words every morning, or eat a protein-rich breakfast and walk for 30 minutes daily. Why do systems triumph in the long game? 1. Goals create an either-or conflict. You are either a success or a failure. Until you cross that finish line, you are, by definition, failing. This binary state is psychologically draining and unsustainable. A system, however, allows you to be successful every single day you execute the process. If you write your 500 words, you are a successful writer today, regardless of how far you are from page 300. This creates a continuous feedback loop of positive reinforcement. 2. Goals can be harmful to long-term progress. Achieving a major goal often leads to a post-achievement slump. The marathon runner stops training. The entrepreneur sells their company and loses their sense of purpose. A system, however, is infinite. There is no done. The writer who finishes a book starts the next one. The system provides a permanent home for your energy and identity.
3. Goals put happiness in the future. With a goal, you are saying, I'll be happy when I achieve X. You are deferring your happiness. With a system, you can find joy and engagement in the present moment activity. The musician finds joy in the daily practice of scales, not just in the final performance. Your primary focus must shift from your goals, the cathedral, to your system, the daily, perfect cutting of stones. The goal sets the direction, but the system powers the journey. Pillar 2. The rhythm of renewal, the antidote to burnout. The long game is not a linear, upward grind. The metaphor is not a rocket shooting straight up, but a human heart, a rhythm of contraction and expansion, of striving and resting. To believe you can sustain maximum effort indefinitely is a recipe for physical collapse, mental exhaustion, and creative bankruptcy. This is the downfall of the impatient. The disciplined individual understands the strategic necessity of oscillation. The annual rhythm, the sabbatical and the vacation. Just as fields are left fallow to restore their nutrients, your mind requires extended periods of rest. A true vacation, one where you are genuinely disconnected from work, is not a luxury. It is a strategic recalibration. On an even longer scale, some of the most creative and impactful work emerges from sabbaticals, periods of months dedicated to rest, travel, and learning without the pressure of output. The weekly rhythm, the Sabbath. Whether rooted in religious tradition or secular practice, the principle of a weekly day of rest is a profound psychological technology. It is a 24-hour period where productive work is consciously set aside. This weekly completion prevents the tasks of one week from bleeding into the next, creating mental clarity and preventing the slow creep of burnout. It is a weekly reminder that you are a human being, not just a human doing. The daily rhythm, deep work and deep play. Just as you schedule blocks for intense, focused work, see Chapter 4, you must schedule blocks for genuine restorative play. This is not scrolling through your phone. This is engaging in activities that absorb you completely, that you do for the pure joy of it, playing an instrument, hiking in nature, building a model, cooking an elaborate meal. This deep play restores the cognitive resources depleted by deep work. Pillar 3. Lifelong learning, the defense against obsolescence. The long game is a game of adaptation. The world changes. Industries are disrupted. Skills that were valuable a decade ago are now obsolete. The only asset that appreciates over time, that cannot be taken from you, and that forms the core of your compounding growth, is your knowledge and your ability to learn. The disciplined individual is a perpetual student. Their identity is not, I am an expert, but I am a learner. The 5-hour rule: dedicate at least 1 hour per weekday to deliberate learning. This is not passive consumption of information. It is active, focused study. It is reading books outside your field, taking online courses to acquire new hard skills, deconstructing the work of masters in your craft, or practicing a new language. Curiosity as a compass. In a world of specialized knowledge, the generalist who can synthesize information from diverse fields, technology, history, psychology, art, will have a profound advantage. Cultivate a wide, insatiable curiosity. Follow the threads that interest you, even if they don't have an immediate, obvious ROI. These connections often lead to the most innovative breakthroughs. The circle of competence and its expansion. Warren Buffett famously advises to know your circle of competence and stick within it. This is wise for investing, but for personal growth, the goal is to slowly, steadily, and relentlessly expand that circle. A commitment to lifelong learning ensures that your circle of competence is always growing, making you more adaptable, valuable, and resilient to economic and technological shifts. Part 3. The Dragons of the Long Game: Boredom and Plateaus. The path of the long game is not lined with constant excitement and visible progress. It traverses long, flat, and monotonous plains. These are the points where the undisciplined quit. The master, however, recognizes these not as signs of failure, but as integral parts of the journey. The Dragon of Boredom. The initial excitement of a new habit, project, or diet inevitably fades. The novelty wears off, and you are left with the raw, repetitive reality of the work. This is the moment where most people mistake boredom for a sign that they are on the wrong path. The author Stephen Pressfield in The War of Art gives this force a name: resistance. Resistance is the universal force of entropy that manifests as procrastination, self-doubt, and fear. Its favorite tool is boredom. It whispers, "This is boring. You should be doing something more exciting. This isn't working." The disciplined response is not to seek a new, more exciting path. It is to turn pro. The amateur works when inspired. The professional works on a schedule. The amateur is derailed by a bad mood or a boring task. The professional shows up regardless, understanding that the muse honors the committed. Boredom is not a signal to stop. It is the gateway to mastery. It is in the space beyond boredom that you stop performing the activity and start to inhabit it. It is where the conscious effort of the novice begins its transformation into the unconscious competence of the master. The Dragon of the Plateau. In fitness, skill acquisition, and business, progress is rarely a smooth, upward curve. It is a series of steep climbs followed by long, frustrating plateaus where, despite consistent effort, no visible improvement seems to occur. This is the root system phase of the Chinese bamboo tree. It is the most critical and most challenging phase. This is where the real, structural development is happening beneath the surface. Your neural pathways are solidifying. Your body is building mitochondrial density. Your business is building brand equity and customer loyalty. The key here is a dual strategy. 1. Trust the process. You must have the faith to continue your consistent efforts, even in the absence of external validation. You trust the math of compounding. You trust that the roots are growing. 2. Introduce a controlled variation. Sometimes, a plateau indicates that your current methods have been fully exploited. This is the time for slight, intelligent variation, not a wholesale abandonment of your system. A weightlifter might change their rep scheme. A writer might try a new point of view. A business might test a new marketing channel. The goal is to introduce a novel stimulus to provoke a new adaptive response while staying true to the core of your long-term system. Part 4. Legacy Thinking: The Ultimate Long Game. The most powerful and enduring frame for playing the long game is to shift your perspective from the immediate future to the ultimate end. This is legacy thinking. It is the practice of projecting yourself to the end of your life and looking backward, asking, what do I want to see? What impact do I want to have had? What character do I want to have forged? Legacy thinking elevates your daily decisions from the trivial to the profound. It connects the cutting of the stone directly to the vision of the cathedral. The eulogy virtues versus the resume virtues. Author David Brooks draws a distinction between the resume virtues, the skills you bring to the marketplace, and the eulogy virtues, the ones talked about at your funeral. Were you kind, honest, courageous, loving? The long game is about building both, but it recognizes that the eulogy virtues are the ultimate measure of a life well lived. A disciplined life focused solely on career and wealth is a hollow victory. The ripple effect. Your disciplined pursuit of a better self is not a selfish act. It is a contribution. By becoming more disciplined, you become a better parent, a better partner, a better friend, a better colleague. You model resilience for your children. You bring integrity to your workplace. You have more energy and resources to contribute to your community. Your personal discipline creates a ripple effect that elevates everyone around you. The question of ikigai, the Japanese concept of ikigai, your reason for being, is the perfect intersection for legacy thinking. Your ikigai lies at the confluence of 1. What you love, passion. 2. What you are good at, vocation. 3. What the world needs, mission. 4. What you can be paid for, profession. The long game is the patient, lifelong journey of moving your life toward the center of this Venn diagram. It is about aligning your daily systems, Pillar 1, with a purpose that is personally fulfilling and globally useful. Conclusion: the marble sculptor. The undisciplined life is a series of frantic sprints from one fleeting finish line to the next, each followed by exhaustion and a search for the next quick fix. It is the life of the stonecutter who sees only the rock, who feels only the drudgery. The disciplined life of the long game is different. It is the life of the master sculptor standing before a massive, raw block of marble. The sculptor does not attack the stone with frantic, random blows. They have a vision of the masterpiece hidden within. Every single strike of the chisel, every disciplined day, every healthy meal, every learned lesson, every patient endurance of a setback is a small, deliberate, and intentional act. Alone, each strike seems insignificant. It creates only a tiny chip, a small cloud of dust. An observer might not even see the progress from one day to the next, but the sculptor works with faith. They trust their vision and their process. They understand the properties of the stone and the power of their tools. And then, one day, after thousands upon thousands of disciplined strikes, the excess stone falls away. What remains is not a product of a single heroic effort, but the cumulative result of a million small, correct actions. What remains is a masterpiece of form and function, a testament to vision, patience, and unwavering discipline. The masterpiece is your life. You are the sculptor. The long game is your craft. Stop sprinting, pick up your chisel, and begin the patient, glorious work of revealing the masterpiece that was hidden within the stone all along. Chapter 8. The Command Center, Engineering an Environment for Invincible Discipline. Introduction. The unseen architect of your life. You are in a battle, every single moment of your life. This is not a battle against a visible enemy, but against an invisible force that shapes your thoughts, directs your actions, and ultimately determines your destiny. This force is your environment. Most people live as prisoners in environments designed by accident, by corporate algorithms, or by other people's agendas. They fight a daily, exhausting war of willpower against a world engineered to make them distracted, impulsive, and soft. They believe discipline is an internal quality, a muscle they must flex against the world. This is a heroic, but ultimately losing, strategy. There is a fundamental law of human behavior that you must sear into your mind. You are a biological adaptation machine. You will adapt to your environment, for better or worse. A cactus adapts to the desert by storing water. A polar bear adapts to the Arctic with thick fur. You adapt to your surroundings by taking on their characteristics. If your environment is cluttered, your mind will become cluttered. If your environment is filled with distractions, your focus will shatter. If your environment promotes laziness, you will become lazy. This chapter is your declaration of independence from this invisible tyranny. We are moving beyond mere habit formation into environmental architecture. You will stop being a prisoner of your surroundings and become their master designer. You will learn to engineer what we will call your command center, a fully integrated ecosystem encompassing your physical, digital, and social spaces, all calibrated for a single, non-negotiable objective: to make discipline inevitable and success the path of least resistance. This is not about fighting your environment. It is about making your environment fight for you. Part 1. The physics of behavior, friction, and triggers. Before you can design your environment, you must understand the two fundamental physical laws that govern all human behavior within it: friction and triggers. 1. The law of friction. The path of least resistance always wins. In physics, friction is the force that opposes motion. In behavior, friction is the number of steps, the amount of effort, or the mental energy required to perform an action. High-friction actions require many steps, significant effort, or complex decisions. E.g., going to the gym at 5 a.m. in the rain, cooking a healthy meal from scratch after a 12-hour workday, writing a report without a clear outline. Low-friction actions require few steps, minimal effort, and are often impulsive. E.g., scrolling on your phone from your bed, eating a bag of chips from the open bag on the counter, watching another episode on autoplay. Your brain, in its quest to conserve energy, will always default to the low-friction option. This is not a moral failing, it is a biological imperative. The architect's command. Your primary task is to strategically manipulate friction. For good habits, you must become a relentless friction eliminator. You will make your desired behaviors so easy to start that resistance is futile. For bad habits, you must become a ruthless friction creator. You will build so many obstacles between you and your undesired behaviors that the effort required becomes prohibitive. 2. The law of triggers. You are what you notice. A trigger is any stimulus in your environment that initiates a behavior. It is the first part of the habit loop. Cue right arrow, routine right arrow, reward. Your environment is a minefield of triggers, both positive and negative. Positive triggers. A book on your pillow, trigger to read. Your running shoes by the door, trigger to run. A water bottle on your desk, trigger to hydrate. Negative triggers. Your phone notification, trigger to scroll. The cookie jar on the counter, trigger to snack. The television remote on the couch, trigger to binge watch. Your unconscious mind is constantly scanning for these triggers. You are not consciously choosing to be triggered. Your environment is choosing for you. The architect's command. You must become the master of your sensory input. For good habits, you will make the triggers for your desired behaviors abundantly obvious and impossible to ignore. For bad habits, you will make the triggers for your undesired behaviors completely invisible. With these two laws as your foundation, we can now begin the systematic engineering of your command center. Part 2. The physical command center, designing your fortress. Your physical space is the most tangible layer of your environment. It is the stage upon which your life is performed. You will design it like a general designs a fortress, for defense against invasion and for efficient internal operation. Zone 1. The sanctum of focus, your workspace. Your workspace must be a temple for deep work. It should be a psychological trigger for entering a state of flow. It is not your couch, your bed, or your kitchen table. Those spaces have other psychological associations. Command 1. The single-purpose rule. This space is for work and work only. Do not pay bills here. Do not scroll social media here. Do not watch movies here. You are building a powerful neurological association. This chair, this desk equals focus. The moment you sit down, your brain knows it's time to engage. Command 2. The clear field protocol. Your desk must be a clear, clean, and minimalist surface. Every item not essential to your immediate task is visual noise, a tiny cognitive drain that contributes to decision fatigue. The only things present should be the tools for your current project. This isn't just about tidiness, it's about cognitive clarity. Command 3. Friction engineering. O for focus. Keep a notepad for idea dumps. When a distracting thought arises, write it down and forget it. This removes the friction of trying to remember it later. O against distraction. Place your phone in another room, or at the very least, face down and in do not disturb mode. Use a physical timer for Pomodoro sessions. The act of turning it is a more deliberate, low-friction start than clicking a software version. Zone 2, the bastion of health, your kitchen and home. Your home, particularly your kitchen, is the fuel depot for your entire operation. You cannot perform at an elite level if you are running on low-grade fuel. Command 1, the strategic food placement. O make healthy choices frictionless. Pre-cut vegetables and fruits. Store them in clear glass containers at eye level in the fridge. Keep a water filter pitcher full and visible. O make poor choices frictionful. Place junk food and sugary snacks in opaque containers. Store them in the highest or most inconvenient cupboard, or better yet, don't buy them at all. The out of sight, out of mind principle is neurologically accurate. Command 2, the equipment advantage. Invest in tools that reduce the friction of healthy behavior. A high-quality blender makes smoothies easy. A rice cooker makes whole grains simple. A good set of knives and a sturdy cutting board make food prep less of a chore. This is not self-indulgence, it is strategic procurement. Command 3, the sleep sanctuary, your bedroom. Your bedroom has one primary function, sleep and recovery. It is not an auxiliary office or entertainment center. O enforce darkness and coolness. Use blackout curtains and set the thermostat low. O eliminate blue light. Ban phones, tablets, and TVs. Charge them in another room. This is non-negotiable. The friction of having to get out of bed to check your phone is a powerful deterrent. O invest in your recovery. A quality mattress and pillows are not an expense. They are an investment in your daily cognitive performance. Part 3. The Digital Command Center, Tamming the Dragon. Your digital environment is the most potent and dangerous layer of your command center. It is a dragon of infinite distraction, engineered by thousands of the world's smartest people to capture and hold your attention. You cannot defeat it with willpower. You must tame it with superior design. Phase 1. The Digital Purge, declaring digital bankruptcy. This is a ruthless, one-time surgical strike on your digital life. Command 1, the app audit. Go through your phone and computer. For every app and program, ask, does this tool serve a critical purpose in my life or my work? Does it actively make me better? If the answer is no, delete it. This includes social media, news, and gaming apps that are pure time sinks. You can always access them via browser, which adds a crucial layer of friction. Command 2, the Notification Inquisition. Every notification is a trigger designed to hijack your focus. Go into your settings and turn off every single notification that is not from a human being you know and care about. No news alerts. No app update alerts. No promotional emails. Your phone should be a tool you use with intention, not a slot machine that dictates your behavior. Phase 2. The Digital Fortification, building the firewall. After the purge, you rebuild a fortress around your attention. Command 1. Implement website blockers. Use tools like Freedom, Cold Turkey, or Stay Focused. During your scheduled deep work blocks, these tools should block access to distracting websites, social media, news sites, YouTube. This is not a lack of discipline, it is an application of it. You are using a system to pre-commit to your focus. Command 2. Create a distraction-free device profile. Both iOS and Windows have focus or work modes. Use them. Create a profile that hides all non-essential apps, silences all non-essential notifications, and presents you with a clean, purposeful interface when it's time to work. Command 3. The Email Triage Protocol. Email is a to-do list that anyone in the world can add to. You must control it. Oh, schedule checking. Do not live in your inbox. Schedule 2-3 specific times per day to process email, e.g., 10 a.m., 2 p.m., 4 p.m. The rest of the time, close the application. O use filters and labels aggressively. Automate the sorting of your inbox. Newsletters go to a read later folder. Social notifications are archived. Only priority messages remain in the main inbox. Oh, the 2-minute rule. If an email can be answered in 2 minutes or less, do it immediately. If it requires more time, schedule it as a task in your proper task management system. Part 4. The Social Command Center, Curating Your Tribe. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This is not a cliché. It is a reflection of the powerful social adaptation mechanism within us. Your social environment is the invisible curriculum that teaches you what is normal, what is acceptable, and what is possible. Conducting the relationship audit. You must audit your social circle with the same cold-eyed objectivity you applied to your phone's apps. Category 1, the radiators. These people energize you. They are positive, supportive, ambitious, and intellectually curious. They believe in you and challenge you to be better. After spending time with them, you feel more capable and optimistic. Your command, maximize your time with them. Schedule regular interactions. Invest deeply in these relationships. Category 2, the drains. These people deplete you. They are chronically negative, cynical, critical, and gossipy. They mock ambition, make excuses, and see problems in every solution. After interacting with them, you feel drained, cynical, and defeated. Your command, minimize your exposure to them. This is not cruel, it is an act of self-preservation. You cannot afford to have your resilience reservoir constantly drained. Be polite, be professional, but be strategic with your time and energy. Category 3, the neutrals. These people are neither a significant source of energy nor drain. They are pleasant companions but do not actively contribute to your growth. Your command, manage these relationships efficiently. Enjoy them for what they are, but do not mistake them for the core of your support system. Proactive tribe building. An architect does not just renovate, they also build new structures. You must be proactive in building your tribe. Seek out mentors. Identify people who embody the discipline and success you aspire to. Reach out respectfully. Ask intelligent questions. Offer value in return. A true mentor provides not just advice, but a raised standard of what is possible. Join a mastermind or peer group. Find a small group of like-minded, driven individuals who are committed to growth. Meet regularly to share challenges, hold each other accountable, and provide support. This creates a powerful microenvironment of high expectations. Engage with high-performance communities. Whether online or in person, immerse yourself in communities focused on your areas of interest, be it writing, entrepreneurship, fitness, or art. The shared focus and collective energy will pull you upward. Part 5. The Systemic Command Center, Automating Your Operations. The final layer of environmental design is creating systems that manage your external obligations, freeing your mind from the burden of remembering and deciding. This is about creating an external brain. Implementing a trusted system, the GTD protocol. David Allen's Getting Things Done methodology is the gold standard for this. The goal is to get every commitment, idea, and task out of your head and into a reliable external system. 1. Capture. Have a trusted, always available tool notebook, app like Todoist or Notion, to capture everything that has your attention. No task is too small. 2. Clarify. Process each item by asking, what is it? And is it actionable? Oh, if not, trash it, incubate it, someday maybe list, or file it as reference. Oh, if yes, define the very next physical action required. Plan vacation, becomes email spouse to brainstorm dates. 3. Organize. Place these next actions into context-specific lists, at calls, at computer, at errands, at home. Also, maintain a project list, any outcome requiring more than one action, and a calendar for time-specific actions. 4. Review. Conduct a weekly review to empty your capture tools, update your lists, and ensure your system is current and complete. This is the keystone habit that keeps the system trustworthy. 5. Engage. With a clear head and a trusted plan, you can confidently choose what to work on from your context lists, knowing nothing is slipping through the cracks. Engineering your finances, the ultimate automation. Financial stress is one of the greatest cognitive drains. A disciplined environment must include a financial architecture that creates security and autonomy on autopilot. Command 1. Automate your savings and investments. Set up automatic transfers from your checking account to your savings, retirement, and investment accounts to occur the day after you get paid. This is the ultimate application of making it easy. You never see the money, so you never make the conscious decision to save it. You are paying your future self first. Command 2. Automate your bills. Set up autopay for all recurring bills. This eliminates late fees, protects your credit score, and most importantly, frees your mind from the monthly chore of remembering and paying dozens of individual bills. Command 3. Create spending friction. For discretionary spending, add friction. Unsave your credit card information from online stores. Implement a 24-hour cooling-off period for any non-essential purchase over a set amount. This simple system defeats impulse buying by introducing a deliberate pause. Conclusion: you are the master of your domain. You now hold the master blueprint. You are no longer a tenant in the house of your life, complaining about the leaky faucets and the poor lighting. You are the architect, the general, the commander. Your environment is not a passive backdrop. It is an active, dynamic force. Every object in your home, every app on your phone, every person in your circle is either a soldier in your army or a saboteur working against you. Your mission is clear. 1. In your physical space, become a friction engineer and a trigger designer. 2. In your digital space, become a ruthless purger and a vigilant fortifier. 3. In your social space, become a strategic curator and a proactive builder. 4. In your systemic space, become an automation expert, freeing your mind for its highest purposes. This work is not a one-time event. It is a continuous process of auditing, refining, and optimizing. But with each adjustment, you make discipline easier and distraction harder. You are not just building an environment, you are building a new self. The command center is now online. The fortress is secured. The stage is set. There is no more enemy to blame, no more obstacle to sight. The only thing left is to execute. The world you have designed awaits the person you are destined to become. Step inside and command your life. Chapter 9. The Symphony of a Masterpiece, Conducting a Life of Integrated Discipline. Introduction. The Conductor's Podium. You stand now at the pinnacle of your training. You have forged the inner citadel of your mind. You have built the unbreakable cables of atomic habits. You have sharpened the laser of your focus. You have tuned the instrument of your body. You have cultivated the resilient spirit of the phoenix. You have embraced the patience of the cathedral builder. You have engineered a command center environment that serves your will. You possess, in your hands, the most powerful and complete set of tools for personal transformation ever assembled. And yet, a critical danger remains. A collection of world-class musicians, each a master of their individual instrument, does not automatically create a beautiful symphony. Without a conductor, without a unified score, without a shared sense of rhythm and harmony, the result is cacophony. The violinist plays a concerto, the trumpeter a jazz solo, the drummer a rock beat. It is a mess of conflicting noise, more stressful and less effective than silence. This is the fate of the partially disciplined. The executive who is a titan of industry, but a ghost to his family. The athlete who sculpts a perfect body, but neglects her financial future. The artist who creates masterpieces, but drowns in the chaos of her personal life. This is not success. This is a specialized form of failure. It is winning a battle while losing the war for a meaningful existence. This final chapter is your invitation to the conductor's podium. This is where we move from mastering the individual instruments to conducting the symphony. This is the art and science of integration, the deliberate, skillful weaving of all 8 metaskills into a single, harmonious, and purposeful life. Your life. Here, you will learn to stop being a specialist in your own disintegration and become the architect of your holistic success. You will ensure that your discipline in one area does not come at the catastrophic cost of another. You will design a life where your health supports your work funds your passions enrich your relationships, and your relationships give meaning to your entire journey. This is not the end of the book. This is the beginning of your masterpiece. Part 1. The diagnostic charting your current symphony with the wheel of life. Before a conductor can improve an orchestra, they must first listen, diagnose, and identify where the discord lies. You must do the same for your life. We will use the most powerful and revealing diagnostic tool available, the wheel of life. Imagine a wheel that represents your life. It is divided into 8 fundamental segments, each a critical spoke essential for the wheel to roll smoothly toward your destiny. 1. Career and purpose. Your work, your mission, your sense of professional contribution. 2. Health and fitness. Your physical vitality, energy, and resilience. 3. Finances. Your financial security, freedom, and stewardship of resources. 4. Relationships. The depth and quality of your connections with family, friends, and partner. 5. Personal growth. Your continuous learning and development as a human being. 6. Environment. The order, peace, and functionality of your physical and digital spaces. 7. Recreation and fun. Your commitment to joy, play, and rest. 8. Contribution. Your service to others, your community, and a cause beyond yourself. The diagnostic protocol. On a scale of 1, absolutely miserable, to 10, perfect, couldn't be better, rate your current level of satisfaction in each of these 8 segments. Do not rate based on where you wish you were. Be brutally honest about your present reality. Now, plot these scores on the wheel and connect the dots. What do you see? Is your wheel round, smooth, and balanced, ready to carry you forward on a steady journey? Or is it jagged, lumpy, and misaligned? A wheel with spikes and flat tires cannot roll. It jerks, stutters, and eventually breaks down, making the journey exhausting and unsustainable. The career tyrant wheel, all 10s in career and finance, but 2s and 3s in relationships, health, and fun. This wheel might move fast for a while, but it is headed for a catastrophic crash, a heart attack, a divorce, a deep existential crisis. The comfortable stagnation wheel, 7s and 8s in environment and recreation, but 3s in growth and contribution. This wheel is rolling in a very small, safe, and ultimately shrinking circle. It is a life of quiet desperation. The chaotic reactor wheel, no segment above a 5, a uniformly low and jagged wheel. This is a life of firefighting, with no forward momentum, only the exhausting effort to stay upright. Your first command from the podium. Your initial task is not to push your highest scores even higher. It is to identify the lowest scores and bring them up to a baseline of competence. A chain is only as strong as its weakest link. A symphony is only as powerful as its quietest section. You must strengthen the weak links. Raising your health from a 3 to a 6 will do more for your overall life satisfaction and effectiveness than raising your career from an 8 to a 9. This wheel is your fundamental score. You will return to it quarterly. It is the ultimate measure of your success, not your bank statement or your job title. Part 2. The principle of integrated discipline, the virtuous cycle in motion. Holistic success is not a zero-sum game. It is a virtuous cycle, a system where strength in one area creates strength in another, creating an upward spiral of compounding life satisfaction. Your role as conductor is to initiate and sustain this cycle. Let us trace the music as it flows from one section of your orchestra to another. Cycle 1. The foundation of energy, health, right arrow, everything. The connection. The discipline of leading self, Chapter 2, applied to your health and fitness, Chapter 5. Good sleep, nutrition, and exercise directly fuels the focus, Chapter 4, you need for your career. It builds the resilience, Chapter 6, to handle professional setbacks. When you are energized and clear-headed, you are a better, more present partner and parent relationships. This physical vitality also gives you the energy for recreation and personal growth. The break in the cycle. Neglect your health, and you drain the fuel from every other segment. Your work suffers, your temper shortens with loved ones, and you lack the energy to learn or contribute. Cycle 2. The architecture of freedom, environment and systems, right arrow peace, right arrow focus. The connection. A disciplined environment and automated systems, Chapter 8. reduce cognitive load and decision fatigue. This creates mental peace and space. This free mental capacity is then available for deep work, Chapter 4, on your career and personal growth. Financial automation. Finances reduces anxiety, which further bolsters your resilience and improves your relationships, as you are less stressed about money. The break in the cycle. A chaotic environment and disorganized systems create constant, low-grade stress that shatters your focus, depletes your willpower, and makes you irritable and anxious, poisoning your relationships and stalling your growth. Cycle 3. The engine of growth and career, right arrow finances, right arrow contribution. The connection, a commitment to lifelong learning, personal growth, makes you more valuable and effective in your career. This leads to better finances. Financial security, in turn, gives you the resources and the freedom to make a greater contribution. You can donate more, volunteer your now more valuable skills, and support causes you believe in. This sense of contribution provides a deep, non-ego-driven sense of purpose, which motivates further growth. The break in the cycle. Stagnation in your learning leads to stagnation in your career and finances, limiting your capacity to contribute and often leading to a sense of meaninglessness. Cycle 4. The heart of meaning, relationships and contribution, right arrow, resilience and purpose. The connection. Strong, supportive relationships provide the emotional fuel and safety net that make resilience possible. A strong sense of contribution provides a why that is larger than yourself, which helps you play the long game, Chapter 7, and persevere through the inevitable boredom and plateaus of your career and personal growth. This sense of purpose and connection makes the disciplined journey joyful, not grim. The break in the cycle. Isolation and a purely self-centered existence make you fragile. Setbacks feel catastrophic because your identity is tied only to your personal achievements. Without a strong why, discipline becomes a dry, brittle exercise that is easily abandoned. Your command from the podium. Look at your wheel of life. Do not see 8 separate problems. See interconnected systems. Your goal is not to fix your health in isolation, but to understand that by fixing your health, you are also investing in your career, your relationships, and your peace of mind. Every disciplined action should be chosen for its ability to create positive ripple effects across multiple segments of your life. Part 3. The conductor's score, defining your ikigai. A conductor needs a score. A symphony without sheet music is just noise. For your life, the most powerful and holistic score is the Japanese concept of ikigai, pronounced aikigai. Your ikigai is your reason for being. It is the place where your deepest passions and the world's needs intersect. It is the sweet spot that makes life not just worth living, but worth living with vigor and joy. It is found at the confluence of 4 fundamental questions. 1. What do you love? Your passion. This is what you enjoy doing so much that you lose track of time. It brings you joy and fulfillment intrinsically. 2. What are you good at? Your vocation. These are your skills, talents, and natural aptitudes. What can you do well, perhaps better than most? 3. What does the world need? Your mission. This is about service. What problems can you solve? What pain can you alleviate? What value can you create for others? 4. What can you be paid for? Your profession. This is the market reality. What will people actually pay you for? Finding your ikigai is a disciplined, iterative process. At the intersection of love and good AT, you find your passion, but this can be self-indulgent. At the intersection of good AT and paid for, you find your profession, but this can feel empty. At the intersection of paid FOR and world needs, you find your vocation, but this can feel like an obligation. At the intersection of world needs and love, you find your mission, but this can be unsustainable. Your ikigai is the vibrant, dynamic center where all 4 overlap. This is not a one-time discovery. It is a lifelong pursuit of alignment. The disciplined life you have built is the engine that allows you to pursue your ikigai. Your habits and focus give you the capacity to get better at what you're good at. Your resilience allows you to persevere when the market doesn't immediately recognize your value. Your long game perspective lets you patiently build a life around your ikigai, even if it doesn't pay well at first. Your environment can be designed to support the activities related to your ikigai. Your command from the podium. Your weekly and quarterly reviews must include an ikigai check-in. Are my daily actions pulling me closer to the center of this diagram? Am I neglecting one of the 4 circles? E.g., I'm paid well, but I don't love it. I love it, but the world doesn't seem to need it. How can I use my discipline systems to better align my life with my ikigai? Your ikigai is the ultimate why. That makes the how of discipline not just tolerable, but a privilege. Part 4. The rhythm of the master orchestrating your weeks and years. A symphony has movements, fast and slow, loud and soft. A master conductor knows that a relentless, forte tempo is exhausting and loses its impact. Your life must have the same rhythmic intelligence. The macro rhythm, thematic years and quarterly crescendos. The long game can feel abstract. To make it tangible, you must break it down. The thematic year. Instead of a long list of disconnected New Year's resolutions, choose a single, overarching theme for your year. This theme should be aligned with strengthening a weak spoke on your wheel of life or deepening your connection to your ikigai. Examples. The year of foundation, focus on health and finances. The year of connection, focus on relationships and contribution. The year of mastery, focus on career and personal growth. This theme becomes the lens through which you make decisions. In the year of foundation, you might say no to a time-consuming volunteer opportunity to focus on building your emergency fund and establishing a consistent workout routine. The quarterly crescendo. Break your year into 4 13-week quarters. Each quarter, set 3-5 key goals that support your annual theme. A quarter is long enough to make significant progress, but short enough to maintain focus and urgency. This is where you implement the specific projects and habits that move the needle. OQ1 goal, save $5,000. OQ2 goal, lose 15 pounds. OQ3 goal, complete a professional certification. OQ4 goal, establish a weekly date night and a monthly volunteering commitment. The micro-rhythm, the symphony of a single week. Your week is the fundamental unit of your composed life. A disciplined week has a predictable, productive rhythm that balances all segments of your wheel. A template for a masterful week, the conductor's score in action. Monday, focus and launch career. Morning, weekly review and planning system reset. Day, deep work on the most important project for the week. Set the tone of productivity. Evening, light recovery, reading, light walk, family time. Tuesday, deep dive, career growth. Day, continue major project work or engage in focused skill development, personal growth. Evening, continue recovery. Wednesday, connection and balance, relationships, health. Day, meetings, collaborative work, networking. Evening, dedicated relationship time, date night, call a friend, family activity. Midweek workout to break up the week. Thursday, consolidation and completion, career, finances. Day, tie up loose ends from the week's projects, administrative tasks, financial review and bill paying. Evening, personal growth activity, online course, reading. Friday, momentum and closure, career contribution. Day, finalize weekly projects. Plan for the next week, clear email inbox. Afternoon, work on a contribution project, pro bono work, volunteering. Evening, fun and recreation, social event, hobby, movie. Saturday, renewal and joy, recreation, relationships, environment. Morning, long workout, hike or outdoor activity, health, fun. Day, adventure, fun project, deep connection with loved ones. Evening, social event or relaxing at home. Sunday, reflection and restoration, growth, environment, preparation. Morning, reflection, journaling, strategic reading, personal growth. Day, meal prep for the week, lighthouse, tidying, environment. Evening, Relaxing routine, no screens, prepare for Monday. This is a template, not a prison, but it illustrates the principle. A life well conducted is a life with rhythm. It intentionally makes time for every section of the orchestra, ensuring none are neglected. Part 5. The final discipline, the art of graceful adaptation. A final, critical truth. No performance ever goes exactly according to the score. A string breaks. A soloist enters a measure early. The hall is too hot. The master conductor does not throw down their baton in fury. They listen, adapt, and guide the orchestra through the imperfection, often creating a more human and memorable performance as a result. Your life will be the same. You will get sick. You will have a project fail. A loved one will need you. A global pandemic will shut down the world. The ultimate discipline is graceful adaptation. This is the opposite of rigid, brittle control. It is fluid, resilient, and intelligent. The protocols for graceful adaptation. 1. The 80-20 rule of consistency. Your goal is not 100% perfect adherence to your plans. It is 80%. If you hit your habits, your schedule, and your goals 80% of the time, you are winning. The 20% margin of error is your space for being human. It is the buffer that prevents a single missed workout from becoming an excuse to abandon your health for a month. 2. The weekly review as a recalibration tool. When your week gets derailed, and it will, your weekly review is not a place for self-flagellation. It is your strategic recalibration session. Ask, oh, what happened? Oh, what did I learn? Oh, how do I need to adjust my plans and systems for the coming week to account for this new reality? This turns disruptions into data. 3. Define your non-negotiables versus your flexibles. In your system, certain things should be almost sacred. Your sleep, your weekly review, your key relationship time. These are your anchors. Other things, your workout time, your specific project task, can be flexible. When chaos hits, you hold the non-negotiables and adapt the flexibles. This prevents total collapse. 4. Practice self-compassion. The voice of the tyrant is the enemy of the conductor. Beating yourself up for a mistake is undisciplined. It wastes energy and creates shame, which is corrosive to long-term growth. The disciplined response is to acknowledge the error, extract the lesson, and recommit to the process with kindness. As the philosopher Epictetus, a man who knew profound hardship, said, "No great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig." If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer you that there must be time. Let it first blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen. The curtain rises on your masterpiece. You have arrived. You are no longer a spectator in your own life, hopping for motivation, complaining about your environment, or fighting the same internal battles on a loop. You are the conductor. You have the score, your wheel of life and your ikigai. You have the instruments, the 8 meta skills of discipline. You have a perfectly tuned orchestra hall, your engineered command center. You have the rhythm, the thematic years and masterful weeks. And you have the wisdom to adapt gracefully to the unexpected. The cacophony of your past is behind you. The silence of inaction is no longer an option. The audience of your one precious life is waiting. The discipline you have cultivated is not a cage. It is the liberation from everything that has held you back. It is the freedom to choose your response, the freedom to build what you love, the freedom to become the person you know you are meant to be. This is not the end. It is the beginning of the performance. The stage is set. The lights are dimming. The baton is in your hand. Take a deep breath. Look at your orchestra. They are ready. Now raise your arms. And begin. Conclusion. The unfinished masterpiece and the liberating law of process. We have reached the end of this text, but you are standing at the beginning of everything. This moment is a precipice. Behind you lies the theoretical map, the principles, strategies, and systems for a life of profound discipline. Before you stretches the vast, uncharted territory of your own lived experience. The journey between the map and the territory is the only one that matters, and it is a journey you must make alone, yet armed with the most powerful tools a human can possess. We began by dismantling the great cultural lie. That motivation is the engine of achievement. We exposed it as the fickle phantom it is, and in its place, we erected the unshakable pillar of discipline, not as a punitive force, but as the ultimate expression of self-respect. We recognize that discipline is the master key that unlocks freedom. The freedom from regret, the freedom from anxiety, and the freedom to choose your life rather than being chosen by it. From that foundation, we built upwards and outwards. We forged the inner citadel of your mind, learning that mental toughness is not the absence of turmoil, but the capacity to choose your response to it. We became architects of our days, weaving the invisible, unbreakable cables of habit that turn aspiration into automatic action. We sharpened the focused arrow of our attention, learning to defend it against the relentless siege of distraction. We tuned the instrument of the body, understanding that a sharp mind is useless without the energy to wield it. We cultivated the resilient spirit of the phoenix, learning to transform the lead of failure into the gold of wisdom. We adopted the patience of the cathedral builder, playing the long game where efforts compound into a legacy. We engineered our environment, transforming it from an adversary into an ally, a command center that makes success inevitable. And finally, we stepped onto the conductor's podium, learning to synthesize all these separate instruments into the singular, harmonious symphony of a life well lived. This is not a checklist to be completed, but a system to be inhabited. The goal was never to become a perfectly disciplined robot. The philosopher Aldous Huxley was right. Consistency is contrary to nature, contrary to life. The only completely consistent people are the dead. The goal is to become a master of the process, to fall in love with the daily practice of showing up, of cutting the stone, of tuning the instrument, even on the days when the music doesn't flow perfectly. This is the final, and perhaps most important principle, the liberating law of process. We are conditioned to be destination addicts. We believe happiness and success are locations we will arrive at, marked by a finish line. I will be happy when I get the promotion, lose the weight, find the partner, buy the house. This arrival fallacy is a psychological trap that perpetually postpones fulfillment. The promotion comes, and within weeks, the new title is your normal, and your gaze shifts to the next horizon. The finish line is a mirage. The disciplined life shatters this illusion. It teaches you that the reward is not at the end of the road. The reward is the road. The joy is in the craft itself, in the feel of the chisel in your hand, the sound of the words hitting the page, the burn of the muscle, the clarity of a problem solved. When your identity is tied to the process, I am a writer, so I write. I am a person of health, so I move and eat well. Then every day you engage in the process is a day of success. You are no longer a failed millionaire. You are a successful saver and investor today. You are no longer a failed novelist. You are a successful writer who honored the craft today. This is the great liberation. It transfers the source of your satisfaction from the unpredictable external world, the validation, the outcomes, the results, to the one thing you can always control, your own actions and your commitment to the process. A life lived this way is a life insulated from the whims of fortune. When the market crashes or the project fails, it is a setback, not an identity crisis. Your identity is rooted in your daily disciplines, your resilience, your ability to learn and adapt, all things that no external event can take from you. Therefore, see your life not as a project to be completed, but as an unfinished masterpiece that you have the privilege of working on every single day. Some days you will add bold, brilliant strokes. Other days, your work will be subtle, a mere sanding of a rough edge or a contemplative study of the canvas. Some days, you may even paint over a section you thought was finished, having learned something new that demanded a revision. This is not failure, this is growth. The symphony you conduct will have movements of thunderous triumph and passages of quiet sorrow. There will be dissonant chords and moments of sublime harmony. The master conductor does not demand that every note be joyous. They seek to make the entire composition true, powerful, and authentically expressive of the journey. So, as you close this book, do not seek a perfect tomorrow. Do not wait for Monday, for the new year, for the right feeling. That is the old programming, the siren song of the destination addict. The command is for today, for this moment. Take one disciplined action, just one. Make the one healthy choice. Do the 5-minute task you have been avoiding. Send the difficult email. Put the phone in another room and think. Go for the walk. Read the page. Let that single action be the first brick you lay in the foundation of your new reality. Then tomorrow, lay another, and another. The world does not need more people who have read a book about discipline. The world needs more people who are living embodiments of it. People who are calmer, more focused, more resilient, and more capable because they have chosen to show up for themselves, day after day. People whose very presence makes the world a more purposeful and less chaotic place. You now know what to do. The map is in your hands. The territory of your life awaits. The masterpiece is unfinished. The instruments are tuned. The podium is yours. The only question that remains is the one that will be answered not by reading, but by living. What will you build with the discipline you now command? Go, build something magnificent. Thanks for listening. Like, share, and subscribe.